Howdy folks, welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. I'm Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master for the evening, and joining me as always are Matt, Miles, Allie, and Tina. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. It has been about a week or two since we played. A couple of quick announcements before we get started. First of all, we have a whole bunch of new art that's up on our Instagram page at Alberon RPG. Since the last time that we've played, there's been art put up about Nazara. There's been some cool background stuff from Sophie Bischoff, who did that art for us. Some of like the step-by-step stuff was all over there on Instagram. There's also new art that I received just before we started this evening of Calessian from Calessian's Golden Exchange, this sort of very posh elf who runs Calessian's Golden Exchange, an oddity shop in Dungannon that we saw during our 4-part adventure. So that will be up on Instagram either tomorrow or the next day, depending on how things fall. There is also, 2 weeks ago, I was on a Twitch channel called The Action Sturge. I played a character called Harceron. It was like an elf character, very similar to, I want to say, Tensilius, the soldier sort of mercenary that you all met in Sunrest. I think you guys called him the Dilf. But that was on the Action Sturge's channel, so check that out.
Yeah, I was about to say it probably just me.
Yeah.
Sounds
Talked
like
about
a
our
Mormon
socials.
comment.
Talked about our socials already. AlberonRPG.com is our website. You can find a little bit more information about the campaign there, about the various characters that have been played, some of the NPCs, some of the people who have passed away. There is also on AlberonRPG.com/lore a 130-page document about Alberon and how you can play it yourself. That will be updated, I think, on Tuesday, and that's going to stretch it out to closer to 160 pages. That gets us into Chapter 3, which is going to include magical items, which will have things like the Maker, the Breaker, the Binder, and various other things from Alberon. So check that out. And last but not least, we have Sirenscape for all of our digital sounds. It is a digital toolset for dungeon masters who like to add sound effects, music, and various other bits of ambiance to their games. Or if you want to use it to scare trick-or-treaters this Halloween, Sirenscape. So check that out as well. And with that is all the announcements I have for this evening. So let me restart our theme song, and I will get us right back into our recap. So, and hello, Talon. Thank you. Finger Gang. Last we played, Shae, we began with you up on this rooftop in the middle of a storm. You saw a half-elf, this individual that you learned later to be named Sybil, a philosopher cleric walking home through the storm. She was beset by these zombies, undead led by another creature, although not too much learned about that. As you dropped down, grabbed Sybil, and before more than 6 seconds had passed, managed to move about 300 feet in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, Aca, Morwen, the two of you returned to the Dungannon Antiquities Collective. There, immediately, Morwen, you went to sleep before eavesdropping on the conversation between Aca and Drea, your dragonborn
friend.
Friend is a really strong word. We'll say mentor, which is also a strong word. Aca, you learned that Drea probably, though respect is also a strong word, at the very least didn't think that you stole the missing items that the others had accused you of taking. She gave you a shopping list to find a few items to help her with her current project. Heinrich, you and Nazar returned your captive to the Doontop Manor and to the rest of Uriel's watch. This group of rangers from the north, from the Ald, who serve the Planetar Angel Uriel, your patron. You threw them into this 10-by-10 room along with the other captives, still sort of out. You rested, relatively speaking, as much as you ever do, Heinrich. As Thamer, the elf who's also a member of the Uriel's Watch, analyzed the data that you had all obtained. In the morning, Aca, you spoke to Mr. Gift and learned of the various black market swells that had occurred, as these creatures, long extinct or at least asleep within Dominion, now roamed once again. Wyvern venom and various other items. he gave you a list of those things as well and asked you to be on the lookout for these. And try to track down what might be elements in league with Zystrees, what you now know as a mind flayer operating beneath Dominion. You briefly all reunited for just a few minutes before splitting up again. Aca, Morwen, you went to get a drink at the Verdant Ogre, where over the course of about 45 minutes you worked out the most complex trade, certainly in our campaign's history, possibly within the history of Dungeons & Dragons.
It's a good trade for me.
It was like 19 pieces of gold for a bunch of dragon scales, and also Morwen gets to wear your cape, but only from when she wakes up, and also you have to say that Morwen's all these things in front of certain people, but not other people.
This is mutually beneficial.
Except Ogle 3.
Right.
Except that was the one compromise we made.
Fuck Ogle 3. Don't have to say it in front of him. Fuck him.
So, Shae, Heinrich, as they worked out this complex and important trade, you began to traverse the lower anchor, searching for the vermin-collared druids to ascertain if the druid Rex was amongst their ranks. This brought you to a deep cavern dug into the depths of the mesa called Anchor. But across the street, at the diviest bar you have ever seen, excited patrons gather around, and you hear a goblin. Give me just 1 second to switch this all over here. Da-da-da. So you see a goblin kind of on the outside. And so the Bullfrog's Last Croak, just as a reminder, it is a sort of 2-story structure built of, it looks almost like driftwood. At one time this was nice lumber, but over the years and through lots of damage, you can see divots and burns on the outside and areas wholesale that have been replaced with new stone or lumber. But you can actually see through elements of the wood. It is so wholly and damaged. Through it, you can see a pretty diverse crowd. There is a lot of noise coming from within. But you hear a goblin just yell out, "That's Willie Ninslow!" Outside the Bullfrog's Last Croak, there is a large orc. Seems to be serving as the bouncer, and you can see already kind of turning people away, as it is quite crowded. But Heinrich and Shae, what would you like to do?
Just sort of look over at Shae like, is that the...
I believe so.
Well, we know where we're going next, and I point at the, like, cave area behind the graveyard. And then gotta wait for the rest of them to show up, or else Aca will come up with something else to complain about. So let's go hang out in front of this place.
He'll do that anyway, but yes.
So let's walk over to the show and see if we can catch our friend.
Okay. You can see as you walk up, you hear these voices lively, although there's no music coming out yet. But this large orc kind of turning a human away. You see maybe middle-aged. This human turns away a little dejected, kicks the dirt, and walks by you. But as you walk up to this orc, he turns and looks at first you, Heinrich, and then you, Shae. "We're out of capacity at the moment. We can't take anybody else, so we're going to need you to back up, sir. Madam." And you can see
he's doing a great job.
he just takes this huge axe, holding it in both hands, and just kind of holds it, not threateningly, but certainly kind of barring the
Sure.
path.
Can I see Nellie Winslow
Make a perception check.
through the crowd on a stage or something?
Sure.
What's the roof
Ooh.
situation look like?
Make a perception check as well.
It's got
Does it
18.
have one?
Does it have
balcony seating?
Is there balcony seating?
Yeah, monks only sit in the
Natural
balcony.
20.
Natural 20. Okay.
There's a small spot in the standing
Not
room
even.
where
It's
you
just a perch in a bunch of monks.
You see this huge orc, like 6'5", really,
Rookery.
actually, so you can see his skin hangs a little bit. He certainly still is overweight, but
Yeah.
seems to have trimmed down a little bit over the last recent time. But he kind of holds the axe and he goes, "Sir, I need you. What are you looking at?" He kind of follows your gaze. You see the two big brown eyes look up. But as you look through this kind of Swiss cheese-like board, Inside, you can see on the left-hand side like a bar, though you don't see people behind it. There's like a couple of, you've seen them before. There's a couple satyrs at the bar.
Yeah.
You see like another, maybe like 24 people crowded into the small space. And there is a stage risen up on the other side. You see tieflings, you see humans, you see a very, very diverse group. At the front, there is quite a good number of gnomes and halflings, you'd imagine. There are kobolds. You don't see Willie Ninslow yet.
Okay. I'd be like, oh, I think my friend's playing here tonight. I can. Is there like signage up?
No. You do see, so looking straight up
How
at
do
the
we
top.
know that it's him? He's playing here?
Overheard.
You overheard the goblin kind of shout that out. You do see a sign that says the Bullfrog's Last Croak,
Right.
Croak in common and undercommon.
Yeah. Be like, oh, I think my friend Nilly's playing tonight.
Make a deception check. The orc kind of squints his eyebrows, look one more time up at the roof.
Yeah.
But then back down at you.
Ugh, 13.
Okay.
Terrible.
His
For
eyebrows
you.
furrow for
Yeah,
a
that's
second.
a 3. I rolled a fucking 3.
And you see, he looks you up and down. Shae, with a natural 20, you look up, and there is now kind of like still, and just for what it is worth, it is about like 7:30. There are still like a lot of clouds, but they're starting to thin out to the point where you see wisps of like night sky, almost like ribbons of darkness in the air. And with a little bit of light that comes down, you can see plenty of rooftop situations. For the Bullfrog's Last Croak, there are these like weird, what look like at one point maybe rooms or turrets that are now in such bad repair that you doubt very highly that they're being used. But they sit at weird angles that hang over the street, and so plenty of perches to be lost up in.
Do it while I'm distracting him.
Yeah, while he's distracted.
Okay. Without any issue, as you can run up vertical surfaces. As soon as he turns and furrows his brow and kind of goes, "You don't know," and you immediately up and are gone.
Yeah.
There's like one or two people that kind of follow you up and continue to walk as you do. And you can actually see one of the guards kind of like pull their hat back and watch from across the street.
I'm like,
over
well, I
this
can't do anything
tavern.
about that, so.
Yeah, wait, go get her.
Yeah.
He, for what it's worth, this is one of the guards across the street at this sort of like crypt.
Right, where we're heading later.
Yeah, they don't seem to really care and if you kind of catch this out of the corner of your eye, you can see it's kind of like a look of like impressed, like wow.
I should be
But-
worried. We're heading
Woman.
over there next.
Yeah, this orc kind of stops. I don't believe you.
Oh, look, you know the story about Kind Scale and all that he sings about?
Wait a minute.
Sings about maybe like a black cat named Morwen.
That's a new song.
Yeah.
I heard him practicing it, but he said he never played it before.
Yeah, that's myself and my friends who were, just sort of having food before we come down and catch a show.
Well, where's the Slayer of Nightmares?
The Slayer of Nightmares, right.
Slayer of eggs.
He's on vacation, taking down a dragon of that caliber takes a lot out of you. I'm sure if you've overheard his song and the all-impressive lyrics and the incredible verbiage that is...
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember all the lyrics, but I remember that there was a tabaxi and a dwarf, and he was the Slayer.
Right.
And you're not a tabaxi. And he turns, and Shae is like not there. Well, she might have been a dwarf, but I don't think so. I don't think there's any room for you, sir.
Well, fine. You are doing a wonderful job at this establishment, keeping it nice and safe, so I'll just listen from outside. That's fine.
You can see he kind of like he drops his guard a little bit and smiles and goes, "Thanks, my friends got me this job." And he turns and goes, "Oh!" And you can see actually as you turn, another satyr, a third one, although this one male, unlike the other two. Little pudgy. You can see like a receding hairline, and he has around his neck this flute with a number of bungholes stuck into it. But as he approaches, you can see he just kind of nods and goes, "Hey, Gorgus." And the orc kind of looks and goes, "Hi, Mr. Steve, go ahead." And he kind of stands to the side and opens the door. You can see Bunghole nods and kind of looks at you up and down for a second. "I don't think I've seen you here before."
At capacity, huh? You, What's your story?
Please call me Bob.
He turns and looks at
My friends
Gorgus
call me
and just
Bun.
kind of looks at you. Make a persuasion check.
That's much better. Persuasion, we're gonna see 23.
23.
My
Yeah.
dad's name.
He looks at Gorgus and says, we're not really at capacity, are we? And Gorgus goes, not for you. Go ahead. And he just turns to you and goes, you should have said you knew Bunghole Steve.
Oh, I figured the person performing would be a little more. But all right, sure, Mr. Steve.
He turns and just says, Bunghole's fine. And he
All right.
turns and heads off towards the bar.
Much
Also,
better.
Mr. Steve, as if that's his last name and Bunghole is his first.
Well, it's Bunghole Steve.
Yeah, but
He was introduced to you as Bunghole Steve.
Yeah.
So,
right.
you and Steve,
I'll-
free to walk in.
Bunghole. Walk in.
As you walk by and you can see he like looks behind him and he goes, Steve's all right.
Okay, fine, Steve. All right, fine.
He turns and you can see one of the other two satyr turns and kind of waves. Gorgeous red hair. You can see just sitting at the bar. She stands up. He turns to you and just says, I'm going to go over to my daughter, but enjoy the show. And he
Okay.
walks over to the bar.
Sort of like one of those. And then I'll just sort of like look around for where Shae may have gotten to.
Sure. Without a perception check, you don't see her.
Of course.
Shae, you make your way up to the rooftop now. The wind almost dying down. It's a very still night. And so your sense of smell, your sense of hearing and everything much, much sharpened. And you feel very confident in your ability to kind of sense danger from this space. But what are you looking for in particular?
I want to set up a spot where I can kind of keep an eye on the comings and goings and the movement of people and things in the area.
Okay.
stuff and things.
Stuff and
Stuff and things. Go ahead and make another perception check.
22.
22. Okay. So roll kind of low there, huh?
Yeah, hold up.
So you,
That was embarrassing.
I know.
okay. If you want to just go to sleep, it's fine.
Yeah,
But
what's even the point?
you find where the shingles have kind of fallen in on one of these turrets, it makes almost a natural, like a nest-like shape. And so finding it easy to put your knees up against the sides and kind of perch there without fatiguing your legs or anything of that nature, you can almost hang over the side. With the way that it's lit from within, you would imagine anybody looking up would have some trouble following the light kind of glaring and making it difficult to see. So you feel pretty hidden. You see a lot of people passing, although it begins to kind of trickle down as you see and hear, we're at capacity, sorry! And people turning away, and you hear again, like, somebody tried to say they knew him just before, you don't know him, and just like, again and again, people being turned away. Yep. You do hear and observe Heinrich being allowed in, so you know that he makes it in. Is there anything else that you're doing, or just waiting?
Largely waiting, keeping an eye out in particular for the rest of the group, and then anybody who fits the description of those we're looking for.
Okay. And in terms of looking for like the Midnight Assembly folk, or
Yes, and then the other group.
Yeah, well, we saw the rats, which were the wild-shaped druids, assumedly, or controlled by the druids that are down around here, like go into that tunnel.
But if
So
there's
that's-
anybody that kind of fits the description
Yeah.
that pokes their head up,
Right.
sort
Okay.
of thing.
sure.
What are they? There's a specific name, too.
I'm talking about Rex is the person that you've been asking about.
Well, that's one, but in general, there was
The group of druids.
The Vermin Caller Druids.
vermin callers.
Yeah. Okay. So you keep an eye out for figures that fit any of those descriptions, or even kind of vaguely thereof. 22 is pretty good. Heinrich, what are you doing now within? You look around, you don't find Shae.
Okay. Do I recognize anyone else?
Uh,
Does anyone in here look familiar, given that I've run into a few people now that are familiar? Sort of.
make a perception check.
Cracked. Nope.
What was that?
It was a cracked 4-ish down to a 1, so 3.
There is actually somebody that you do recognize.
It's Bunghole Steve,
It
right?
is Bunghole Steve.
Yeah.
As you turn around, you see the satyr just kind of
From
raise their
moments ago.
bunghole flute, which now you see sloshes a little bit with the liquid.
Nice.
And
I'll
just kinda take a
just
sip.
go get something to drink, I suppose, and
Okay.
wallflower it.
Sure. So you begin to start looking or turning around and heading over towards Bunghole Steve. You see kind of flanked by these two satyrs. But as you do, suddenly you notice that there is sort of a change in the general nature of the crowd. Give me just 1 second here. You see, right about this point, suddenly people begin to kind of cheer And from up the two side steps onto this little stage, you see a tiny, stringy little gnome with strawberry blonde hair, although it's now tied into pigtails behind him. You see the powder blue jacket swung over a stool now as he kind of steps up, and then he pulls out, very familiar to you, this red lyre, although there's a hole partially worn away above the bridge. But he begins to strum, and Shae, up on the roof, you do hear this lyre begin. You hear the cheers, and you hear the very familiar voice of Nilly Winslow, who looks out, and you rolled a 22 for a perception check. So you hear the first kind of note from this, where Nilly kind of looks out across the crowd and kind of over you, and actually Heinrich, for a moment, actually, you know what, let's make this fair. Never mind. It doesn't seem to see you at
That's
all,
fine.
but just kind of passes over the crowds, waves up a hand, and he strums once more, and he begins to sing. You are noticing that there is, although there is all this happening, the guards all along the street are now turning towards the crypt, and it seems as if there is something happening.
Very much laser focus in on that then.
Okay. With the 22, without trouble, you see like movement within the shadows. You're wearing the mask to give you dark vision. At 60 feet, just at the periphery, you can see these kind of gravestones that stick out from the dark soil, that just at the edge where they're catching light from the stars. And from there, you can see movement around the edges.
Shambly type movement?
Oh, certainly shambling type. Yeah.
One might call it shambling.
So, within, you hear Nilly Winslow begin to sing. She looked across the canyon, whispering, "Say a prayer for me." Broke her chains and took off, shouting, "Dwarves, we must be free." You could hear the guards come running, their giant footfalls loud. They cut her down as she ran, her freedom disavowed. And you can hear people begin to cheer, and you actually hear behind you Bunghole Steve, his daughter, almost like faint, like screaming. Clearly a big fan.
Yeah.
At this point, Heinrich, you as well, though, can kind of hear there is almost a shift in how things are happening. You hear glasses begin to kind of break, and although, make a perception check.
Okay. Break. People starting to fight. That was a pretty song. 8. Or
8?
passive 12.
Okay. Passive 12? Yeah, can't really tell.
Okay.
Shae, back up on top, you can kind of see now the guards begin to move and weapons begin to be drawn. But almost at once, it's like the dirt rises up, and you realize it's just like a dozen, maybe more undead creatures, skeletons, zombies kind of shambling out, and they surge forwards. You see the guards still fighting, but very quickly you get the sense that they're going to be overrun.
Is there a way into the hall from where I am, just like straight in?
Take
Like
a
through
hole in the roof.
The roof is a piece of shit, so you can drop through wherever you want.
Sick. Can I see Heinrich from where I am?
Yes, with the perception
I
check.
want to
like that,
drop down like right next to him.
Fantastic. So I need the two of you to roll.
I just
for
imagine
initiative,
you
if
like,
that's what we're going to
imagine
do.
you sticking your head through like a reverse periscope and just like turning left and right. There he is.
So, here.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. Dan, dan, dan.
So,
What's happening?
I don't know, monster man.
Whoa!
Careful.
Yo, did someone open up the pit?
Oh no, someone fell.
there's a few people that fell. You can stand them up.
I'm gonna just take a wild guess at where this is.
guy should stay down because he's
This is a wild guess at the framing, so we'll see once we break it over there.
You're kind of back there. So you can see Bunghole Steve and Petals right there.
there it goes.
So from where you are, looking over the street out that way, you could drop down like literally right next to Heinrich.
Perfect.
Okay, so in this brief moment, give me 1 second here.
Oh my god. It's so exciting.
All right, anybody natural 20s?
The orc
Nah.
bodyguard.
All right, 25 to 20?
21.
21. Heinrich, what do you get?
17.
17, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Ah!
It's an M.
Violent.
Do we have battle cam footage to throw up?
Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you for that.
Just want to make sure that we get. Oh wow, I framed it pretty good. Look at that.
Look at that. Nice work.
Yeah, DOP over here.
Okay, so what you're noticing. Actually, so Shae, as you drop down, so first of all, looking down, you see through the broken bits of like this almost hole-filled roof, this party, you sense like the motion and everything suddenly shift, and there's a momentum to the crowd as people begin to turn. You are noticing, I will put them out for you, the beginnings of this two-part undead swarm from two different directions. As they break around the house, you see, or you would have seen some going around in that direction, but right at the front, engaging with this orc, are 4 at least that you can see.
Okay.
But I'll say, given your sight, you can see that there is at least another 10 behind them. So. Is what? Zambies. So, Shae, you're up first. Heinrich, you are on deck. What would you like to do?
Kind of as I'm going down, tug Heinrich's tunic like sleeve,
Okay, so as you drop, suddenly Heinrich, you like a little bit.
Yeah. Ah.
pincer, and then I'm going over and hitting the closest one.
There
Okay.
you go. Make your attack roll. Can you push Shae up to the door there, right next to Gorgus?
So is no one inside a zombie?
Without making a perception check, hard to tell at the moment.
19.
19? Okay. 19 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
9.
Okay. 9 points of damage? Great.
She looks so teeny tiny
I
next
know.
to the big orc.
Is that Chet?
23
Just kidding.
23?
hits.
That definitely hits, yeah.
11.
11. Okay. So immediately you drop down, kind of tug on Heinrich's sleeve. As Heinrich turns his head, you're already kind of turning, having spoken your sentence, and you immediately pummel into this thing. The first 2 hits, the first one, it doesn't even cave things in. You can feel an odd sensation as the skin dry, like splits away, almost like a brittle leather. But the bones crumble underneath, and the second hit, you almost break the entire torso in half. There is a sickening that can be heard over the hubbub of the crowd. This thing, you see the spinal column is the only thing holding it together.
And then seeing the number, because I imagine this close.
This close,
It's
really
a
quick
cluster.
guess. Yeah, you can't even see a space really beyond where there isn't. You're guessing at least 24 of these creatures outside.
Patient defense.
Okay, fantastic. So, patient defense for Shae. You settle into a defensive stance, kind of ready to really dig in. You can hear next to you this orc go, and just kind of like get ready with the axe. Heinrich, what would you like to do?
So you said pincer?
So, I would
shit.
say from where, given your passive perception, you don't really get the sense that they're running around the other side, but
Okay.
Shae has seen them from, especially up top, running around.
Okay, and there's no other exit besides that, correct?
That you've seen.
Okay. I guess I'll fire off a few shots at the door and start trying to crowd control, gather everyone like in the middle towards,
Okay.
away from the walls, basically.
So when you say crowd, what are you
So
firing at?
first and foremost, can I see anything like what Shae's attacking? Do I
Yeah, so through
line
Shae,
of
you see
shot?
like arms reaching past, and
Yeah.
Shae kind of like shoves them back. But yeah,
just
certainly.
like just 3 bolts into the mass of
Sure.
enemy bodies.
Yeah, make your attacks. Go for it.
Okay. First one is pretty okay. 14.
14 hits.
Wow. Okay. I mean, not
They're
surprising.
zombies.
Yeah, not surprising. 7 force damage,
7 force damage. all
and I'll push that one.
right. In the front.
Yeah, just so that Shae can get another opportunity to
Okay.
attack.
What is the DC on that?
There is none. It's just 10 feet.
Oh, it's just straight 10 feet.
There's no. Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just auto.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, Shae, you kind of stab that one. You're able to like cut it almost in half, and you see the spinal column. The only thing is it teeters over. You hear this like, and and this force blast suddenly ripples past. It doesn't hit the skeleton, but you watch as the spinal column and it falls to like just the ground. It begins to crawl towards Heinrich, but you see this teal burst go through. How much damage was it?
It was 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
And suddenly that zombie, as it gets hit, you watch as it flies backwards, almost colliding with one and the other and the other. You can knock that zombie prone.
In the same spot.
Yes, in the same spot, and then the one behind it as well. And though you cannot see it, there is another one prone behind that.
Okay.
And suddenly just and they just all go down.
Okay.
Does that trigger an opportunity attack?
They did not move.
Oh, they
so
just
it did not,
fell?
It gave
It's
because
just
there's
too
no
much of a
place for
mass?
them to
Yeah.
move.
Okay.
Because it goes back.
Oh, I
like,
gotcha.
Yeah,
I
it goes
gotcha.
back far enough that there shouldn't be a way for it to move.
Okay. So then another bolt at another one
Make
that
your
is
attack,
just
yeah.
standing up is a 16
That hits.
with a 15 damage.
15 damage.
Force.
And this is a different one that you're firing at?
Assuming since the first one fell over,
Okay.
that one can't get pushed. And then the third bolt is another 14 with 7 damage.
And 7 damage?
Yeah.
So you watch the teal streaks past you and it breaks the other one's spine. It hits into one, and you watch as all of the flesh is seared an instant away in this teal radiant energy. The second blast hits it, and you can see the whole chest just enveloped with the light before the thing like sinks into itself dead on the ground.
Sick.
That's 2 down.
Okay, and then I'm just gonna run around over towards this side and start yelling to everyone, like, they're surrounding the building, get in the middle.
Okay. As you run by, you do notice as everybody kind of begins to turn and look around for places to go, the 2 kobolds are the only 2 that kind of immediately turn and look at the bar. But that is your turn?
Yeah, so I guess I would move over and start cordoning everyone and like make my way this way to go protect Nilly eventually.
Okay,
Shuffle
awesome.
these people this way.
Oh, is Nilly out? Yeah, he's out there. Okay.
Yeah, he's up there.
Oh, this guy's
That is going to bring us to Bunghole Steve. So you can see the satyr at the bar grab what you now know to be his daughter and kind of begin to pull her. He looks over at this big cluster of zombies at the door and then kind of looks over. He's going to move. Can you move him 60 feet diagonally towards the other corner of the bar?
like this way.
Yep.
So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,
60.
60?
Yeah, that's fine. And then could you move pedal just a little bit behind, kind of diagonally? Yeah.
Great.
Perfect. Yep. So now dragging this other satyr through the crowd, heading off towards that corner. That is going to be Bunghole Steve's turn. That's going to be Bunghole Steve's turn for now. It is now the zombies' turn.
Zombies!
So they're going to use half their movement to stand up. Can you stand those 2 zombies up? The third
And
one
that's
stands
it.
up
No, just
behind.
kidding.
Yeah, that's their turn. Shae, you're going to take attacks from 3 of them.
Okay.
That is going to be...
I believe patient defense gives it disadvantage.
I think you are correct, actually. So, hang on. I got to do this each individually here. I'll take the lowest here. So this is 11 or an 11, which is 14, which is a miss, I'm sure.
That is a miss.
That is going to be a 17 or a 10, which is a miss, I'm sure. And this is either a 21 or a 21, which is still a miss. So, they begin to like move in, and as you do, it is this sort of like they reach out and there's this, and you kind of slap the hand away. And as the next one reaches forwards, you kind of duck underneath, and it is this like flurry of hand motions where you guide them around yourself, but they're unable to hurt you. There are 6 that are going to take an attack on Gorgus.
Gorgus.
That is going to be 1, 2 hits. Ooh, and a natural 20 for
Oh, no.
4 hits total.
It's a zombie cat.
Oh yeah, there is a cat there.
It didn't run
14.
away with the zombies.
It hasn't had a turn yet. The people haven't had a turn yet either. So Gorgus is going to take a total 26 damage from the variety of zombies as they claw into him.
Gorgus, Gorgus.
For what it's worth, he's like shaking them off and kind of like looks frightened. But every time that he shakes, he's like swinging this massive axe around and whoosh, just carving into these creatures. Although we'll get back to that on his... Actually, There are other zombies moving, although they are not on the map yet.
They're moving.
Yes. That is their turn, however. That is going to bring us to... Why do I
Where
have...
are we?
Oh, right. You guys are like over at the Dungannon Antiquities
Yeah,
Collective.
Still?
Oh, yeah.
well, we were
Oh,
heading
shit.
over after we had made the deal.
Yeah, you guys are probably...
That's right. We're meeting up with them.
You guys
there.
are about 20 minutes
yeah.
away.
That's funny.
So, it is now Gorgus's turn.
They were like, we're just gonna go.
Where's he gonna go?
Is there
even
no
though
way
we
we
had
would
made
hear
a
this
plan.
commotion?
No, you guys are
okay.
still kind of far away. Give me a second here. So Gorgus is going to. Can you move that orc back inside next to Shae? Moving 5 steps back, and he's going to start swinging as he does. He's going to take attacks of opportunity as well. That's a miss. That's a hit, and that's a hit. So you watch as Gorgus kind of carves into these things because he does a lot of damage.
He looks like he's like, excuse me, ma'am, you can't be in
We're
here.
at capacity.
We're max capacity. Just starts killing
20.
people.
I told you you couldn't be in here.
No entry without ID.
As he steps back, he says, "You're all too old!" and swings really hard. You see it right across the chest of one of these creatures, and the whole thing back and like bisects through, bones cracked, organs kind of blackened and melting on the inside. Although that zombie's still alive by 1 hit point. But that is going to be Gorgus's turn. That is going to bring us to the people.
Chaos.
Heinrich, make a general charisma check in the hubbub as you shout for people to get into the center.
13.
13? That's enough for people to listen. They're looking for any port in a storm here.
Yeah.
Matt, can you move the people kind of closer with the exception of Bunghole, Steve, and Petal, who are going to continue on their turn towards that little exit that they know to exist. The 2 kobolds, could you please move them over to the bar?
Okay.
Shae, even in all of this, with your passive perception, you can kind of hear the bartender shout out, "Hey, what?" And Heinrich, if you glance over, you can see that they're robbing the bar.
Of course they are.
That is the kobold's
Damn,
turn.
that's a good move on the cold balls.
Cold
That brings
balls.
us
Cold
to
balls.
the top of the round. Shae, what would you like to do? Heinrich, you're on deck.
I'm gonna use haste.
Okay. So you dig deep down and kind of channel your ki to accelerate yourself even further past the bounds of what should be possible for a human.
And we're swinging.
All right.
22,
22 hits.
7,
7 points of damage. All right.
16,
That hits.
11.
So the one that Heinrich was able to hit that first time, you can see with like that still glowing, searing gash in. You take, what are you fighting with? Spear hands?
Bare hands.
Bare hands. So you kind of grab the part that's still intact and almost separate it, kind of throwing it into one of the other zombies. As it reaches forwards, you hit it with another one of its fallen brethren, I guess. But you push further in.
One more. 27.
27 hits as well.
13.
13. So as that one falls, you kind of take that, throw it into one of the zombies who kind of falls back, and you take that opportunity to kick it in the legs. One of the knees buckles inwards, and the leg separates completely, kind of tearing away, almost like a oh god, what is it when you cook a chicken in
Turducken.
No.
That's what I thought too.
Why is that the
That's
first
the
place?
first thing I thought of. They're gonna say when you take a chicken and put it in a
You put it in the duck, you put the duck in the chicken, you
When
got
you
yourself
sous
turducken.
vide a chicken. I don't know why turducken is the first thing that came up. Okay. Much like a turducken, when you pull the leg, it just comes away. So, anything else, Shae? There's the turducken.
Can I take like a half step to like position myself in the doorway so I'm almost like back to back with this orc? Not back to back, but like kind of like 45
I see, like side to
degree
side.
angle.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys turn out. Very Charlie's Angels on the end.
Yeah, like Covering the whole angle sort of thing.
Gorgas's angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you turn and kind of like nudge and you feel this massive or kind of like turn in almost instinctively, shoulder to shoulder now. The undead swarm forwards. Heinrich, what would you like to do?
Okay, so nothing going on behind me.
That you could tell.
Okay, from here, do I have like,
These guys up on the, you set this up at the very end over there.
do I have top down, do I have like the ability to reach over and keep shooting at the door?
I would say without too much
If not, then like the other thing I was gonna do is try to get up and like guard Millie Winslow, since he's the only person I know.
if you went up on stage, you could see over and fire that way.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort of like I'm just looping around and like sort of pushing everyone in. I'd move past Bungle so you can be like, get away from the walls.
In that moment, he kind of turns and says, "It's not a very good wall." And you can see he's already starting to like bring the flute up, now empty, about to do something.
Okay. And I'll just fire off.
He's gonna do something.
Fire off a bunch more shots.
Take your shots, yeah.
Okay.
You see Shae and Gorgas now kind of shoulder to shoulder fighting with this massive undead.
Yeah, I'm just-
There are arms now kind of like reaching through elements of the walls. Like you can see limbs and hands and heads like stretching through. Yeah.
Okay. We got a 16
16 hits.
with a 12 and a 10-foot shove.
Okay. So actually, the yellow clad one in front of Shae, you can move 10 feet back. Yeah.
Attack of opportunity.
Yes. Go ahead.
Do it.
19.
19 hits.
7.
7. Oh, so close. So as Heinrich shoves this thing, this is the one that you just hit. And so it's like teetering, kind of like badly hurt already. Heinrich hits it one more time and you can see it hits it like just below the waist and the whole thing like is torn out from underneath it. It hits hard on the ground and as it pulls itself up, the body is now separate from the legs. It's hurt.
Okay. Got 2 more. 24 with
24 hits.
7.
7. So as this thing looks up at you now, like bisected, it reaches towards you. And this is all for you, hasted, slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
It reaches up and you hear like, and then the head like ripped from the body with another celestial blast.
And then the last one is
Third shot.
23 for
hit.
7 more.
7
Rolling
more.
like Garbo on the damage.
So you can see another now Gorgas like engaged, goes to swing and swings wide as this teal burst strikes one in the chest and smolders away there. But anything else, Heinrich?
Can't really tell if there's anything on the other side of these walls. Are there any windows? Like
There is-
if I were to
so-
like do all that and then just like see, am I in danger immediately behind me?
What is your passive perception?
12.
You do notice now that Bunghole Steve has pointed it out in the very corner, and you can actually see the textural difference on the map. There is an area of like piled together rubble, which looks like a stone wall that had collapsed in and had been like very repaired is a strong word. It was people like piling stuff up and saying we'll deal with this later, and then they never did.
Gotcha.
That looks like a definite vulnerability, but there's no danger behind you yet.
Okay. Worried about that. I'm gonna face that way, so I'm
Okay.
not surprised by anything.
Fantastic. So that brings us to Bunghole Steve, who, as he says, kind of says that, pulls this the bunghole flute up to his lips and lets out this very short a toot, if you will. There is this burst of force energy, and the whole wall out in front. You see the bits of rubble splinter outwards, and though there is an alleyway beyond, you do see there are maybe like 60 feet away on the other end of the alley, like a swarm of undead beginning to bear down. You can go left and into a separate alley as well, though.
Okay.
But you see Bunghole turn and just go, see, and just pulls pedals through, and the two of them kind of clop off and into the darkness.
Okay. Safely?
Hard to tell.
Okay.
That is their turn. That brings us to the zombies. So they're going to close that 60 feet with their dash. Matt, if you could add... No, that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, this is the swarm.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a separate swarm yet to be seen.
Yes.
And this
Well, they're all... So if you see in the very back, it's in the northwestern corner. Yep. And they're all behind that guy. kind of just trained up.
Oh,
it's,
so
it's like a 6 foot
including
wide
these-
alleyway.
Including these.
Oh yeah,
Banners.
they're all coming in.
This is quite the swarm here.
That is that half of the swarm. The other one, since they're being pretty effectively bottlenecked out right now. Well, actually, let's make it fair because they're not that smart.
Is Nilly getting a turn too, or is he part of the crowd that would have moved to the middle of the room?
He's part of the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I did tell him, and then I think they all kind of.
yeah.
I'll just move him a little further away off the stage.
It's like trying to get over the edge because it's kind of high up. This is like,
So Shae, you do notice as they're kind of piling in, they're smashed up into the door frame now where you're hearing the wood begin to kind of buckle in. 2 are going to take attacks against the building. They rolled a 1 and a 2. So great. Against the building.
Yeah.
There's 2 that are going to take attacks
Find
against
any
you.
purchase against the wall.
They don't have disadvantage currently, right?
No.
Not that it matters. It's an 11 and a 12. Wow. Against Gorgas, there's going to be 3 attacks. That is going to be a natural 1,
Nice.
2 natural 1s,
Wow.
and a 14, which is not going to hit him either.
Okay.
So they're just kind of scratching away now, and you can actually hear Gorgas goes just from being like, they can't hurt me! And he just seems to gain a lot of confidence.
Good for
And
him.
at that, it is his turn.
and he's gonna kill them all.
He's going to take his attacks. It's a natural 20,
Yeah.
a
okay.
7, and a 9. But the natural 20 is going to be quite a lot of damage. Where is this? Just going to reroll these.
Confidence boost.
Yeah, proud of him.
So as he kind of gains that confidence, you watch as he like holds this entire axe up, and you have to like pull your head aside as it right by your head. And you can see even as he turns, sorry, swings it around and cleaves an entire creature in half. You watch as the body separates and spins around. The body into the ground. But that is another one down.
Keep that up, buddy.
That is his turn. That brings us to the people's turn. That is...
The people's choice of words.
Like,
Nilly's gonna pick up like a broken bottle and huck it over at one of the zombies, I guess, because it's a man of action.
Yeah. Just don't hit me in the head.
It's a disadvantage. That is a 3.
Okay.
So you,
Just-
Heinrich,
just,
you're
like,
close
just
enough
past
where
my
you
head.
see him just kind of look around, the pigtails kind of flopping around. He reaches up and grabs this. He looks at you and just goes, "Ha!" and whips it over that like thing, and you see it just smash into the wall. Yeah, good timing, right? Sirenscape.
Yeah.
Digital tool set for Dungeon Masters. So that is Nilly Winslow's turn. The people kind of unsure what to do are going to mostly stay there. The kobolds. Oh, easy. You watch as they just pull like these 3-fingered hands full of like mostly copper, a few pieces of silver, shove them into their loincloths, and then they begin to make for Shae, the door that you're at. They're going to just try to sneak by.
Can I see them?
Yeah, oh yeah. With your passive perception, sure.
I
Okay.
mean, like, I'm going to step in front of them.
Okay. Make an athletics check at disadvantages. This is not really part of your
But
doing
I'm hasted,
anything.
but I'm
This is why I'm letting you do it. One of them might get by.
It's more like a half-hearted, like, hey, don't do that, but like there's bigger things going on here.
14.
14. So one of them, as you see this happening, you're striking out and you use the back part of your staff. As you use the front to engage the undead, you use the back in almost mirrored motions to kind of like swing at the kobolds a little bit. You manage to whack one right in the side of the face. It does no damage, but he kind of like turns to the side and you hear this. The other one slides underneath and you see he turns and goes and just darts out into the darkness. If you can move him in this direction, Matt, towards me, to the south. Yep, you can move the cat off the board too. The cat's gone now. That brings us to the top of the round. Shae, you have this kobold kind of like rubbing his cheek behind you. What would you like to do? The undead in front.
How many undead are left on this side?
Interestingly, they're thinning, and you do notice there are some like clawing at the side of the building, but there is a large group unaccounted for to your visual field of vision.
There's one, though, still directly in front of me.
Correct.
I'm gonna hit it twice.
Okay.
28.
That hits.
11,
Okay.
19,
That hits.
12.
So you see this final thing loom up at you, and as you try to look to the side to see behind it, it kind of moves and gets in your way, trying to like reach towards your face. You grab the hands, snap them off, and then grab the head. Your thumbs go into the eyes, and you yank the whole thing away, tossing it to the side. The body falls.
Like, sort of intentionally, but not intentionally aiming it at the kobold as I kind
He
of...
tries to get by you as you do this, and you drop the head right down, and you hear this as he backs away from it.
But then turning and going back in the other direction where I knew or had the idea that the other group was coming.
Sure. So right through the crowd, kind of sneaking between and through and on top of in some cases. And you slide in next to Heinrich. Heinrich, suddenly Shae appears by your side. Anything else, Shae?
Is there anyone within... anybody I can see at this point, zombie-wise?
So as you get right next to Heinrich, and I mean, you can continue to move forward.
Yeah, you can move up to the hole in the
You
wall.
do see there's like a conga line of zombies moving down. And at the very end, with your perception,
Yep.
Matt, if you could put that at the very far end, you see a familiar creature.
Ah, my friend.
And even as you get there, you see this like weird. This is unusual. There is a semblance of intelligence to this because it stops as it sees you. Anything else?
Cool. I have 3 more hits, so the ones in front were just steamrolling through.
There you go. That's part of why it's stopping.
24,
24 hits.
10,
Okay.
and 29,
29 also hits.
9,
Okay, that one's still up. Looking pretty
18.
rough. 18 hits.
12.
12. So the first one in that doorway begins to kind of like surge forwards. And as it does, and the other one seems to step back a little uncertain, you kind of grab it in the clavicle area and just wrench it to the side backwards. Heinrich, you watch as like Shae doesn't let go and kind of pulls the hand forwards, and the whole arm and like part of the side of the body rips away and kind of is thrown into the other side of the door. That one is dead.
Okay.
Anything else, Shae?
That's it.
Okay. So, after ripping apart 2 zombies and running approximately 80 feet, that's all. Heinrich, what would you like to do?
So, I mean, I'm over here. Quick glance behind me. Is there any that are still at the other door? Or does it look like that dude's doing okay?
You look and you can
He's still
actually
up
see
and swinging.
he is a little hurt, but you look. He kind of is turning around, looking with this axe. It doesn't seem like he can find an enemy. You can't see through the door really, but it doesn't
Okay.
look like he's engaged.
Okay, I'm gonna. So I can see him. Is that. What is the range? He's within 60 feet. We're fine. I'm gonna use bonus action just to heal him up.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Well,
Look at you.
he's guarding that door.
How much health does he get?
So I'm doing 5d6.
Nice.
Just gonna borrow some of these.
Do you want half the red guys?
Yeah. I got 5 right here. Just like max, full restore him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna do it. So it's 11, 14, 18.
Okay. From even across the crowd, suddenly as these like celestial runes light up around him, the head kind of jerks around looking it up, and then suddenly as they begin to seep into the wounds, stitching together the biological damage, he just kind of goes, that tickles! And he just almost drops the axe, but like recovers it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, 3 bolts in front of me, pushing back.
Yeah,
etc.
go
So
for it.
you know
Roll
the
those
drill at this
attacks.
point. We got 25,
25 hits?
and for max of, I think I counted wrong last time. No, 17.
17?
No, 15. 15 is
15,
max.
okay.
Yeah, 17 would be ridiculous. Well, 2 more, but still. All right, that's 1, which pushes back 10. No trigger because Shae's too far away. 18 for 7 again.
Okay.
And then 19 for 7 again.
So that's enough so that at least
I'm just trying to like roll the 7 out of it. It's stuck.
too many sevens, just gotta shake them out.
Well, yeah,
It's like when you go to the beach, you get sand in your shoes.
Or like, when you're running your garbage disposal and there's like that one piece of something that's like
Yeah.
stuck centrifugally.
I
You just
got
gotta
you.
like just just a little, and then it goes.
Yeah, no problem.
yeah.
No problem. I got you. Shae, from your standpoint, after you rip this thing in half and kind of stand there, the other one backs up, and suddenly these celestial bursts go by you, and the one just beyond, maybe 10 feet, as it takes the first step forwards, it's like annihilated backwards, and you can see just elements of the decayed flesh incinerating in this celestial light.
That
Nice.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That is your turn. Bunghole, Steve, and Puddle are nowhere to be seen. That brings us to the zombies. So they're going to kind of... So two of them are going to disappear down the alleyway, chasing the satyrs. The other three are all going to come in at Shae. Shae, you're taking 3 attacks from zombies. They are quite mighty.
just all along the wall.
First one is 22.
That is going to miss.
Okay. They may not be able to hit you. That's close to the highest that they can go. That's a 4, so that's not going to hit. 20. That's not going to hit either. So, all swing at you in the doorway, and you use your staff and elements of themselves. As one reaches forward, you like pull it in, and it blocks another one. But at the doorway, you kind of hold strong. The one at the very end... You, over the din, just hear this, stop, and just turns and drifts around the corner and away.
Can I see him still or no?
No, so like around and then to the right. So like he was already kind of back away from the group,
Got it.
but goes back around, probably back in the direction that you had seen them all come from.
Got it.
Anything else? Oh no, sorry, that's their turn. That brings us to the orc. He is going to
in front of
run
just that
off the
one?
board kind of out in that direction into the street. You just hear, "Don't worry, I'm here to help!" And just as he is swinging at things out in the street. The kobold, the final one, is just gone. They made their way off with a decent amount of money. That brings us to the top of the round. Shae, what would you like to do?
I mean, the one in front of me is getting hit.
There you go.
With the intention of, like, trying to make a hole.
Okay.
29.
29 hits.
11.
11. Okay.
26.
26.
12.
So, in speaking of making a hole, you kind of use your leg and launch a kick into this huge skeleton's chest. The sternum splinters. And as that happens, the ribs kind of fall away and they fall onto the ground. You can see clear through this, just the spine kind of through. You use the momentum to bring your leg around again. You kick the spine straight in half. It cracks. And as it falls into the sides, you see straight down as the cloak vanishes around the corner.
I'm chasing this.
Sure. Through. You do not provoke attacks of opportunity, I don't believe.
Correct.
So they both like reach out, and so Heinrich, you see these two zombies just hug, and Shae disappears down the alleyway. Shae, as you round the corner, suddenly you can see this creature now like maybe 10 feet further than when you started. It begins to turn, kind of hearing you come.
3 more hits.
Go for it.
Oh yeah. Let's put that in. Smack 'em.
29.
29 hits.
Pow pow.
13.
Pow pow.
Okay.
19.
Okay, hang on one second. It's going to do something as a reaction. I have
Okay.
to look up. Oh, God.
Actually,
Yes.
he can make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. There's a saving throw you're going to make as well, but give me 1 second. That's going to it's going to be a 9.
He's
How's that?
stunned.
That's good, right?
He's stunned.
Okay. As well, you know what?
If he's stunned as part of the same attack, does he get the reaction?
I don't think he gets the reaction. So you watch as he turns, and a very familiar fire almost flares to life within the eyes. You've seen Heinrich do something similar. Suddenly, the body locks, and that fire dies down. There's no reaction to be taken.
It's 25.
25 hits.
13.
13 points of damage. So at this point now, hitting it again and again, and it locking up, parts of it are falling away. It is badly damaged.
28.
28 hits.
8.
The last hit, you feel all of the bones suddenly clatter, and the robe falls down as if the entire thing just falls apart. The head rolls away, and you watch as the eyes. There is almost like a grin on the skeletal face before it hits the wall and falls apart.
If I have 150 feet of movement total, can I make it back to like behind the 2 zombies?
Yeah, actually, you can make it another 20 feet into the end if you want, anywhere within that
No,
that
I'm
space.
just gonna creep up behind them.
So through, you watch these zombies both like hug, and there is this. They back up, and as they pull away, Shae right in. One of them spins in place on its heel, but comes back to focus. That is your turn, Shae.
I know what you're
ending
saying
it
behind them.
behind,
Staying
like I'm ending
outside.
outside behind them.
Yeah,
Oh, so
Yeah.
like right
Yeah.
that is your
That's
turn.
it.
That brings us to Heinrich. Heinrich, you watch. There are 2 zombies left, and I'm going to say at this point there is a little bit more comfort within the crowd, dying down a little bit in terms of how angry they are.
Yeah.
Why isn't this guy doing anything? He looks like he could
Right?
defend.
Right?
Come on. Because he left his armor at home. Put a shirt on.
He's drunk.
You fool.
Wasn't this,
He was a pirate from
Haribo?
back in Captain's Keep.
I
What?
think it was Haribo.
Might have been.
It may have been Haribo, yeah.
What's that? Yeah, I'm just gonna like walk up to them.
Okay.
I'm just gonna like walk right up, and as soon as I'm within 5 feet, apparently stepping on a glass
shit.
as I do so, they can make a con save as I use this cantrip for the first time, because I was assuming this kind of thing was going to be happening more frequently. Because when I built this character, it was, and
Yeah.
then it never did. Word of Radiance.
Nice. Yeah, Word of Radiance
I've
is
only
great
used it
spell.
as a bug zapper
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
let's effectively use it. God, what did I say the word was before?
It's in my notes, but from a long time ago.
Buzz
Little
off.
grabbies.
No, it's not little grabbies. I'm just
That's
gonna borrow
yours.
some.
I know.
All right.
No one else would have chosen.
Somewhere in your bag.
So
This little glass opens
con
up.
save against DC 18.
18, okay. Is that for both of them?
Yeah, anything that I target within 5 feet of me.
That's an 11
Okay.
and a 17.
Okay. So both
fails.
fail, and they both take shitty. No, actually, it's a 4 or a 1. That's a 1. All right. At least I add that to it. So keeps getting me.
The timing's great,
Getting
right?
me. So that's 13 radiant damage, not force damage.
Okay.
They both take it though.
So tell us how it happens. That's
I mean,
enough.
I just walk up and I'm just like, enough! And then they just sort of evaporate as like that word causes like a ripple out from like chest height and then just flares up and down
Sure.
all around in like a ring.
So as you unleash this kind of word and you say enough, there's this almost like a tsunami of vibrant teal energy that Shae, like parts around you. But for a moment, you feel almost like overwhelmed, especially hasted as this is like slow motion happening. This is like borderline a bad acid trip. Because you also watch as these 2 zombies directly in front of you, one like turning in its place from the momentum of you returning, like incinerated in front of you, the skin disappearing, the organs disappearing, and then finally the bones like going up into blackened ash before like you have to blink away this like radiant glow that
man.
almost burns your eyes.
I want to add to it after like all of that ends up happening. There's like, you know, the whole like out of focus light, and then it sort of falls down and sort of dims, and then you just see me like smiling, like, "What's up? We got him."
Yeah.
What the hell was that? Are we out of combat?
Yes, so
Okay,
at this
cool.
point I will take you out of initiative.
All right.
You can see the people now begin to kind of like move around, like pick people up, examine injuries. Nilly Winslow is going to walk over to you because now that you're here and you guys showed up and kind of saved the day,
Yeah.
he's going to come up and there are people
I'll come
still.
back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll. I mean, I'm going back inside. I don't know if Shay's gonna
I
do some recon and like
Gonna
make
go
sure everything's
check
okay.
out the cloak or the remains of the creepy one.
Sure, make an investigation.
I'll
check.
nod
See?
knowingly.
The creepy one.
Important looting.
Yes.
The good kind of looting.
Yeah.
14.
So you kind of pull the cloak away, bones falling out of it, and like bits of bone dust, really, not a lot of intact pieces here. Siphoning or kind of going through, there really is just the cloak, this kind of black, almost like a witch's hat. There's an empty glass bottle that you find with no stopper. There's no real, there's nothing in it that you can tell. That's really it. Not a lot of belongings on this individual. As you go through, you said 14? Mm-hmm. No, that's kind of it.
Okay. I mean, not finding anything, I would make my way back into Heinrich.
So Heinrich, Nilly Winslow kind of approaches you. You see you putting the loot back on his back. He smiles up at you and just says, "Lucky you were here.
Yeah, across the continent.
The second time you've saved me in a row.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Heinrich."
You got it.
He pulls out a piece of paper and just kind of starts jotting something down, then rolls it up and puts it away.
Nice song. Sorry you only got to play one. I don't know if the show's going to start again or not, but seems a little...
Looks around. People, there are people, leaving. You can still hear, some commotion going on out in the street. He turns back to you and goes, I think it might be good to get out of here.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, let's... Where are you posted up? We can walk you home.
Just got into town tonight. I haven't picked a place to stay. If you had a place, I wouldn't mind posting up with old friends.
Sure. We're a little far, and we were waiting for some people to come here. But let's go find out. Shae, what do you think? You want to stay here? I can show him back to the bare bones of Uriel's watch.
Sure, I'll keep a lookout.
Yeah, look out for Aca and Morwen for when they get here.
Right.
Were we ever supposed to even meet you here?
You just say Aca?
Yeah.
I could go for a bite to eat.
Oh, no. Right. No, that's one of our friends.
Tacos.
That's his name. I don't know. He's from
Y'all got a
Yo,
friend
kiddo.
named Aca.
yeah, he's from God, what is it? Not Night Vale.
The podcast?
Yeah.
From the popular podcast. Nightfield.
Yeah. So my friend Cecil. No.
I can't remember. Nocturne.
Nocturne.
The name of the city.
That's right.
Town
Yeah,
that
he's
invented in the world.
at least we met him around Nocturne. I think that's where he's from. So,
Huh.
if that sort of helps track.
Like a Kenku?
Nope.
It's a weird name for really kind of anyone, but
Yeah.
all right, why don't we get out of here? We'll talk about it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll walk you back. We can post up. We're all the way, literally across the entire city. It's going to take a little while, but it's about as safe as you can be. I don't know if you want to be somewhere with a little more culture, though.
Oh, are you in Sonoso? There's not a whole lot of places more cultural than Sonoso. Sonoso is like the southern mesa, so technically,
What's that?
That's why I invited you.
Sonoso
No.
is
Where's the sand dusk?
the Dune-top Manor,
Dune-top Manor.
where Uriel's watch is posted up.
Yeah.
It's on the northern tip of the anchor.
Yeah, right. So that's where I would describe it. Like that's where
Sure.
I've been staying. It's kind of bare bones. They're
It's kind of a
here.
ritzy place for a bare bones area.
Well,
but
they're
all
just sort of holed up in this house that looks to have been given to them to the base of operations because of all of this. And I just gesture at the bones and bodies and stuff.
right. Nods and kind of says, after I left all of you, I took a little time out in Dark Meadow and made my way down here. It was pretty nice. And then this place is sort of a shithole now. But
Yeah, I mean,
Lead on.
this specific area. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking around me like, sure.
And you can see people now kind of cleaning up glass. And there are a few people now resuming drinking. You see the bartender looks pissed. And he's kind of behind there just giving drinks away.
Yeah.
But,
And Walker would be like, you're all good?
yeah, no, we're fine. You want a drink? People just taking things. Just pours a drink and just slams it into your hands.
Just be like,
Go ahead, free of charge. Like everything else here is.
thanks.
Sits down in the chair.
I know that feeling.
Just be like, well, okay, thank you. And I'll just pull out a gold and just put it on the table and walk away.
Snatches it up. Oh, not bad. All right, you're not so bad. Puts it away.
Yeah, I don't spend money on anything else, so, so give back. Okay. Yeah, do you have anything else here to do before we take off? Are you done for the evening?
I mean, now I am, yeah.
Yeah, let's catch up on this nice, I think it's about a 2-hour walk.
All right. And so,
We can stop for a street food nondescript name. Might be Aca, might not. I don't know. I don't think there are any Acas here. I don't think I've seen.
oh, I mean, we could find some, I'm sure. This is Lower Anchor's got some pretty
I'm in the
interesting
mood
food.
for a sausage with stuff on it.
Oh, if you had been here maybe a couple weeks ago, you would have been in luck. But we could find something for you.
Okay.
So,
All right.
you all turn and head off.
Spending
begins-
a gold.
I'm
I don't have an erase.
Perching back up on the roof.
Okay, so up on the roof, and you watch, I guess, without Heinrich and Nilly Winslow, who walk out onto the street.
Oh, I'll have Nod just in case.
Sorry. Nod appears. Nilly starts for a second as he has not met Nod. Is that with you?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Nod. This is Nilly. Nilly. This is Nod.
Nod turns and hear this little, and Nilly holds out a hand, kind of uncertain, and puts it back down. And nice to meet you, Nod. Nods at Nod.
And Nod nods back.
You begin to walk down the street.
Yeah, just like the.
Morwen and Aca. For the two of you, give me 1 second. It sounds different. You all kind of back over at the Dungannon Antiquities Collective. Morwen, you are real sleeping now, or still fake sleeping?
Oh, I'll
Or you guys had left at this point, right?
Yeah, I think we had left to go meet up with them.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we were planning on going to meet back up with them, but they had left before telling us where they were going, I think.
Okay.
I think we're also probably still pretty buzzed.
Oh yeah, no, not buzzed. You guys are drunk. Yeah. Specifically you.
Oh, before we leave.
Sure.
Mr. Gift.
So
Excuse me, Mr. Gift.
you suddenly and abruptly find yourself back within the main kind of foyer of this area, the entryway where you had originally found Ogletree. Kind of bare bones, stone, elements of moisture on the ground, wooden table, now bare. But Mr. Gift there with his lists looks up. Yes.
Hi, do you have a pipe?
Like, what kind of pipe?
To smoke out of?
Oh. Not personally, but we could find one, I'm sure.
Okay, how long will it take?
1 moment. And he gets
Okay.
up, kind of putting these very important tasks aside.
And I'm
Give me
just like-
something. Can you do it fast?
And I'm standing there just like,
He looks at you, Aca, kind of shakes his head and walks back into his office. Are you guys doing anything in the meantime?
I'm waiting for my pipe because I bummed a smoke and I want
The
it.
dragon scales were on his list, right? Or were they on
Give
Drea's?
me a second, I can look. Oh, actually, that would be a physical note that I would have.
I feel like I actually remember this of being on his list because hers was all like,
I think because
Yeah,
also
like
if it was on her list, it would be
elements.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because like, dragon
she's a
Ball,
dragonborn. She could just like,
well, like, here, I killed your kin for
Dragon
you.
scales are on Mr. Gift's list.
Yeah. Okay.
It was dragon scales and dragon glands were the 2 dragon items.
Yeah, but I didn't get any glands in our deal,
Sorry, bud.
and I already gave him the wyvern venom.
You did.
So now I'm gonna be like, oh, I got these too.
He takes this.
oh, that's
kind of
why you
bag
wanted those.
And opens it
I
up.
thought you knew.
Nah.
Yeah,
He looks at them and
I got that one. I point to the white scale.
pulls out the white one. Do you want to keep it?
Okay. Thank you.
I paid you for it already.
But he gave it back, Mr. Gift.
Closes this bag and
Do you think
Did I grab it?
Drea
Yeah.
would want it?
Oh, yeah.
he has no dexterity. So yeah, absolutely.
I would have smacked her. I was smacking her hand and said, "No, you paid for it already. I gave you 19 gold for
Make
that.
a sleight of hand check and make an athletics check.
I gave you gold. Good gold."
Oh, good. Oops, sorry. Woof.
Oh, well, unfortunately for you, it's one of my expertise ones, so I can't roll below a 10, and it's a 25.
I'm not even gonna check my ability modifier. 'Cause you got it.
Yeah, I don't think you can add 23 with any
Before you
skill.
can even react, it is this kind of gone.
Oh,
Yeah. This is the best deal of my life.
You get
I'm
money
just gonna
back.
borrow
last
that real
ale.
quick.
Okay. Thank you for this.
Yeah, well, it's on the list.
I'm going to compare it against similar items that we've come across, and perhaps we can find a trend.
Okay.
Tucks it away.
We should probably get to
That pipe.
I was gonna say Heinrich and Shae.
Oh, yeah, but it'll take a walk.
You take it to go. Walking.
Yeah, that's the point. I'm not gonna hotbox the collective.
The door opens and Mr. Gift returns. A fairly standard, although nicely made stone pipe. Hands it over to you, and Morwen kind of looks at you again, a little bit uncertain, and hands it over to you.
Thank you. I'll bring it back by the end of the night.
I don't need that back. Consider it a gift.
Mr.
He
Gift,
lives
you
up
are
to his
so
name finally.
generous.
Nobody's ever brought that up.
By
to
the
my
way,
attention, so thank you.
Morwen is the cutest and best and coolest, most awesome member of the Finger Gang? What was I supposed to say?
Thank you, Aca. I didn't realize you thought that way about me.
And,
He turns to you,
Something
Morwen.
else.
I'm really sorry. He is normally much better behaved. Aka,
that was
this
part of the
isn't
deal!
really how you show your affections to people. We can talk about this.
I
later.
love
That was part of the
Morwen does this every single time he says it. Aka.
I had no idea.
Well, you're welcome for the dragon scales, because
Thank you.
that's what I had to... Yeah, okay,
They
let's...
are appreciated.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need before you depart?
More...
Mr. Gift, if you need any other stuff, let me know. It's on the house.
Well, and he pulls out this list and recites the
I
same
told
list.
Look at the
over.
list! I got the list! I told...
Let's go find our friends. I'm packing the tobacco.
Do we need anything
It's not
for the
tobacco.
trip?
It's not tobacco.
That's not?
It's-
That's what I wanted.
No, it's not tobacco.
It's,
Oh no, is this the
Dude.
funny stuff?
Do
Yeah.
give you funny
It's
stuff.
pipe leaf.
It's pipe leaf.
Oh no! Can I tell the difference? I can tell. the
Yeah,
difference.
absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
then that's gonna be for when I need to go to bed.
So you wait for a little bit on that.
Do we need anything?
Ah, yeah, I'm starving.
No, I mean... We'll be back later before... We gotta find Heinrich and Shae. We'll be back later.
Very well.
Yeah.
If you have not found food, we can provide some, of course.
Yeah, but Ogle3 might spit in it.
Oh, yeah, I'll go find food.
It is Ogle3's turn to cook.
No,
I'm
good.
We'll find food out.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Cooks like... poop.
Gross.
Aka, that is not a kind thing to say about
Well,
somebody else's
Ogle3's not a kind person!
That's not true.
Not to
Ogle3,
me.
he's different.
Big jerk.
You've never been to Ilmarsh. It's a hard place to live, and it changes people, I would imagine.
Didn't change him for the better.
Well,
I'm a
you don't
big
know him
jerk.
before.
Yeah, well, I know him now, and he's a big jerk.
He turns to you, Morwen. Is there anything that you need? Very well.
Alright, we'll be gone for, I don't know, a couple hours or so.
Well, I'll likely see you tomorrow then.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Yep. Alright, let's go find these two. Are we going back to Dune Stop,
Oh,
man?
that's so far away, man.
That's why they should have met us here. They keep telling. This is why I said part of the deal. We gotta get them to come here, because this 2 hours there, 2 hours back. How come we always have to be the ones going the 2 hours?
I don't know, but you also have to
not
say
fair.
that in front of them too. I hope you know that, Andrea. That was
Yeah,
part
I
of the
know, but I was
plan.
getting this part out of the way.
I
while
completely
we were
forgot
here.
about it. I was trashed when I made that deal. Damn. Thanks for reminding me. That was
At
a
this
weird
point,
moment.
you open the door and emerge out into the night air of Dungannon. The mist having now kind of broken, you look up, you can see a few stars here and there within the clouds.
Nice,
There are a few people here and there walking. Quieter than it normally is, but
How late is it? How
Make
long
an
have we been
intelligence
up?
check.
Like, I don't know.
make an intelligence check. You haven't really been keeping track of the time. It's dark out.
19.
19. Looking up, you don't really see the moon, but you would imagine it feels like maybe like 9 o'clock, give or take.
I mean, like, going... I just can't... I don't have any... I don't know when we woke up. So, like, I don't know... Is this walk going to be, like... a force right now because we're drunk.
No, I mean, in that you are walking 2 hours while intoxicated, yeah. But like, this is D&D.
coming
It's a
down
fantasy
from
game. You can certainly make that trek.
Okay.
We're
I mean, should
almost
we?
at the point where we're gonna have a headache like halfway through.
I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Should we just go there?
I mean, yeah.
All right. There's a giant
We're
pain
not
in the
gonna-
ass.
unless
We're
we
gonna
can
go
get
there
them
now.
back.
We'll go there tonight,
Watch.
and then they're coming to us next time.
I bet as soon as we get there, they're gonna make us go somewhere else.
I agree. I'm not doing it.
It's too much.
No, I'm gonna go there, and that's it until we leave, and then they come to us. That's the plan. And I'm gonna start going.
Morwen, the black hair, and begins
Take
to
a
walk.
second to like, wait, what? I'm like, okay, follow.
On the way, though, going to get food, and halfway through this trip, I will be refilling on booze.
Okay. Is there any particular place you're going to eat or to drink? Is there anything that you're looking for? Or?
Knowing Dungannon, I'm gonna do like a food stand I know is trustworthy, not like the one that like made me poop my pants at Nocturne.
That was an unfortunate situation.
Yeah,
Give me 1 second. So, on your
a
way...
nice like, soak up the booze to
Yeah, like a real,
have more.
a real bready street sausage.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're just grabbing
exactly.
some street food?
Yeah.
No
Something
problem.
simple.
Yeah. So you can go
Nice
and
little
you...
pot pie.
Okay. Roll 100 set of dice.
Okay.
That's how many peas are in it.
This is
Oh, I
how-
love
This
peas.
is how many times you shit yourself afterwards.
Do, 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 do. 60, 61.
61. Okay.
61 peas.
Over the course of your time, without trouble, there is not a lot of street vendors out, which is actually kind of unusual for Dungannon. In a city,
The zombies.
We don't know about that.
in the city that is well known for tavern food, there's not a ton of the streets wouldn't be lined by any means, but almost always there's a few people out selling food, so it is a little strange. But you would end up kind of having to stop in somewhere to eat if you would like. The place along the way that you could stop is probably that you guys can afford.
Hey, Morwen's bougie.
That's fair. So if you would like to spend a
I have
little bit
lot
more
of
money,
now too, because of the bag of shit that I got.
Oh, I haven't even gone through the Sunset Suites Hall yet.
you guys could go through. You could go to the Beau's Tavern.
Isn't that where we just were? Where we got drunk in the first place?
No, that
No,
was
no,
the
we were at the
Verdant
Ogre.
Yeah,
You
You guys were at the
Ogre.
Ogre.
We're-
Yeah.
Truck Shack.
Oh my god, that's a great name. How did I not think of
The Shack
damn.
is a little, but no. I'm just-
No.
Yes.
Vita.
Drinks down at the Shrek Shack.
Alternatively, you could. Well, I mean, in that direction, that's kind of all that you'd pass on upper. Actually,
Yeah.
if you're going to go through Lower Anchor on your way there, you would be passing the Dark Lady's Parlor, and that also does have food, although weird food, but food.
Anything to soak up the booze to have more booze.
Calamari.
Sure. Calamari? No, that would be so much more normal than this.
I don't
It's
want
a
no
dark
mini
lady. I
Krakens.
just got weird Lovecraftian vibes, and that's the first thing that jumped in my head.
So hang on one sec.
Being at sea, I think of mini Krakens.
I like
Mini
that.
Krakenos. Krakenos, like a cereal.
Get cracking.
Get Kraken.
They just shave off all of the.
The
suction
tentacles,
cups.
yeah.
So as you walk, you do eventually come upon a 4-story building on the Lower Anchor, painted all black. You've been here before. As you push your way in, the only person here, as this is a very early hour for this establishment, is the owner behind this all black, like matte black bar. You know that her name is Pagiosa. She is a pale-skinned human, raven black hair, black lipstick, heavy eyeshadow and mascara. About 5'8", you can see as she stands almost 6 feet tall with the black heels that she wears. She has these she's wearing a corset with black ribbon that kind of goes up the sides.
Goth bar.
Quarter sleeve dress, plunging neckline, like these fishnet type sleeves. You see chains attached to the hip. Actually,
Goth bar.
Goth bar.
it is a goth bar. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chains go to the hip, hung from these 2 points on the back of her belt. And on these chains, you can see these small silver charms of skulls and various bones. The tables here all mismatched and surrounded by overstuffed chairs, couches, all a little bit threadbare but very lovingly maintained. There are mismatched candelabras and candles that are on real skulls in some of the side tables, but currently empty, having probably, you would know, just opened.
Word. Yeah, I'm gonna dip in here, especially knowing Frank will be welcome.
Sure, yeah.
So, he hasn't had a bite to eat in a while, so I'm gonna go in there.
Alright, we gotta go quick because Heinrich and Shae are.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
there.
Okay.
Well, how far into the walk are we?
Like an hour, right?
That's about halfway through, yeah, like an hour.
This is fine. This is a fine checkpoint.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, let's go save, and then we'll continue.
So this is the
Let's
part
go
where
refill our health, and then we'll
the camera starts to go up as you guys push through the doors and like the camera fades out.
Quick save, fill our inventory, and our way.
Exactly.
Okay, so you make your way into the space. You can see Pagiosa look up at you. Kind of first at you, and then she rolls her eyes and looks over at you. Welcome to my parlor.
Thank you.
What would you like?
We're looking for food.
Simple enough. And you?
Yeah, food and booze.
Well, I thought we
She
had.
squints at you. You've been here before.
Yeah. But I wanted to introduce my friend, Frank, because I think that he would be welcome here.
Make a charisma check. Just a flat charisma check.
Oh, that's it. Wait, that's a 20. Wait, 3.
Nice.
He's cool.
Thank
Comes
you.
over to you. What do you want?
Well, wait, what do you have? Food.
He
Do I know the
turns
menu
and-
here?
It's not a menu. There is food that is available every day.
Do I know it? Am I familiar?
It tends to be insect based.
Oh.
She turns and kind of goes through this almost like dark veil that parts as she goes through. You guys doing anything as you are alone in this room?
I'm looking around, like, I've never been to this place.
No, this is a weird spot. Looking around, you see up in the rafters, which are dark, there are like little bits of like crimson and black cloth draped in to make it almost like a circus tent that goes up to the ceiling.
Okay.
Here and there are like sources of light, many candles that flicker with this uneven flame, a few that glow with arcane light, maybe drift globes, maybe some other source, but very odd, and it gives the whole space an uneven kind of, if you were to squint your eyes, it's almost as if you're in like a silent carnival.
So,
I'm picturing that like it's like really dark in here, and since I'm a black cat, it's like just the cloak or just my jacket and the eyes.
It's the jacket, the eyes, and now like the gleaming Frank.
The earrings.
Yeah.
It's a place you usually go to?
No.
Okay. How's the food?
Kind of gross.
And as you see the curtain silently kind of parts and Pagiosa returns, you can see in one pale hand this almost silver-like platter. And on it, the legs all curled up, these large smoked tarantulas you can see and smell. It is a very earthy smell. There are 4 of them on this plate. She kind of sets it down. There is like little bits of green kind of brushed across the top, probably some kind of flavoring.
Oh, I think I'm gonna need something to drink with this.
That will be 2 silver pieces.
Okay.
You got this one?
Puts it into her pocket.
Can I get
Beers?
some
Something
beers?
to wash this down.
She turns and just
I did warn you.
disappears through
You
the
asked what I
veil.
wanted, and I said food and booze. I'm just
She
saying.
doesn't seem very nice.
Yeah, she's fine. She made us lovely spiders.
She returns now with these 2 chalices. You see silver base that rises up to be almost like skeletal hands that hold the glasses themselves. And in it, like an amber colored beer, not super dark, not super pale. but puts them both on the counter. 2 copper pieces each.
I'll get this. I'll just put a silver
Oh,
piece
how
down.
convenient. You get the copper ones. That's fine.
Slides it across and slowly, one by one, counts out 1, 2, 3 copper
Keep it.
pieces.
Just keep it.
And then just slides them all back as if that was her intention in the first place. She sits down and then opens up a book and begins to read behind the bar.
All right, I guess.
As you
I just face an entire one.
So
I'm
you
not
see
even. I'm not
Aca-
trying to enjoy it. Just trying to get it down.
Aca takes a leg, and as you begin to pick up the tarantula, the like brittly like snaps off, and little bits of fur fall away from it.
It's probably better. Yeah.
You look at it; it's like a purplish flesh, and as you kind of bring it closer, it is a sour earth smell. But as you bite into it, it's almost like, for all the world, like a dry dill pickle. It could be worse. It certainly could be better. And little bits of fur are coming away, like charred fur in your mouth.
I'm taking a big chug of the beer.
Or when you bite it and just kind of gulp it down.
Yeah.
You manage it, no problem. It doesn't taste
No problem?
terrible. It
Oh
doesn't
shit.
taste
Okay.
awful.
Round 2. I'll get that
That's
other
the way
sucker
to do
down.
it. I'm gonna like get my chalice of beer and then the tarantula ready, and I'm gonna like shove the whole thing in my mouth and immediately like take a big gulp of the.
You're
beer
taking
and
a
just,
shot,
like,
but with
try
a
to
spider.
swallow it whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your passive perception 17, I think we discovered recently,
Yes.
right? So you would actually notice she's like looking above the book as you do this. She's like watching you and seems for a moment a little surprised. Now kind of turns and watches you.
I'm like.
It tastes pretty foul, but you get it down. You watch just like the hint of a smile as she like pulls a sandwich out from behind the book and takes a bite and then
I see it?
continues to read. Yeah.
Hey, where'd you get that?
She turns and kind of holds the book up. The Dungannon.
No. You know what I mean.
She holds up the sandwich now. Mm-hmm. I brought it from home.
You got any in the back there?
No.
Any bread?
Opens the book back up and takes
Anything
another
without
bite.
legs?
She looks up one more time and says, "If you require a refill, please let me know." And begins to read
That's
again.
all we're getting. I'm gonna go for the second spider.
Oh, I think I downed mine.
Yeah.
I'm chugging the drink and I'm getting
Sure.
the fuck out of here.
All right. At about this time, Shae, Heinrich, though you not realize
This
it,
is horrible.
you do kind of see
This
off
was
to your
a
right
horrible idea.
and pass by unless there's anything that you wish to interact with. This 4-story black goth bard you
It's
can
just
see
me,
in like
though.
jagged lettering. Oh, right, because Shae has kind of stayed back. So
Yeah.
you and Nilly Winslow would see this structure as you pass.
A lot of weird architecture here. Kind of a mishmash.
Turns and kind of looks, and as you kind of pass, leaving it behind,
Yeah.
Nilly says, "Dungannon is one of the oldest cities that exists in Dominion.
Right. So
You know,
they keep telling me.
Dominion's kind of a young continent compared to some of the others, but Dungannon has a lot of history. And so
Sure.
architecture comes from across different continents and kind of turns and points back. That over there, informed by Darby architecture, I think.
Yeah. A lot of history. A lot of it's coming back, it seems.
And so you guys continue
Just
to
keep
kind of
walking.
walk. Shae, back over on the top of this building. What are you doing?
Watching.
Any
Keeping an
more
eye on
zombies?
any more zombies, any more creepy crawlies, any more.
You watch as Gorgus the orc fights off the last
Gorgus
2 or
the
3
Orgus.
undead. The final one kind of like staggering towards him, and he raises the axe, splinters it in 2. You hear like the loud war cry.
Like small golf clap.
He doesn't hear it. Just to yourself, you clap. But you watch as Gorgus kind of stomps across and begins to interact with the guards. Make a perception check. At this range, it would be very difficult to hear, but you are not a normal person.
24.
It's hard to hear. You hear like the sound of voices beneath you and like the sound of like the damage being cleaned up a little bit and voices beginning to laugh again uneasily. but you filter it out actively, kind of channeling the same energy that you put into making yourself accelerate beyond your normal bounds, and you filter out the sound. You're able to hear Gorgas sort of, well, he's the easiest one to hear. It's hard to hear the guard's response, but you hear him just kind of say, "There's never been that many before. I don't understand why you're even being paid." And he just kind of like slings his axe back and like begins to animatedly kind of argue. And over the course of time, you hear him talk a little bit about there are undead that are kind of emerging one or two at a time, but there's never been a surge like that. Given your perception at about this time, you do see this small shape just kind of by the feet of Gorgas and these guards disappear into the shadows.
In the direction that we suspect these druids to be?
Correct.
Okay.
Down into the caverns, past these almost broken teeth-like tombstones that jet out from the ground.
Okay. While kind of keeping a watch, I do want to patrol a little bit around the area on the rooftops.
Sure.
Just to get a lay of the land, see what
Of this specific section, or are you moving beyond this area within the lower
within
anchor?
this section. Like, I'm not going to stray more than 5 or 6 rooftops over from this particular location.
Sure, make a perception check.
Real low. 19.
Okay. There are people. You can see here more crowded than it was previously. People being drawn to the events. And as you look across the rooftops, there are like burning candles and things in many more windows in the area now. You see like faces peering out, people kind of huddled together. You see in this moment as the clouds move and the moonlight kind of beams down, a large wooden chipmunk, maybe like 6 feet tall on a rooftop. And beneath it there is a sign that reads T-Chucks. And it seems to be maybe like a with your perception, there's a strange smell that comes from there. It's almost like pineapple. But it's maybe a bar or a tea house, some kind of a thing of that nature. Without going further than that, there's not a whole lot going on. You can see now there are a few more guards and people wearing the black and gold uniforms of the Dungannon Navy now, like kind of reinforcing that line.
Okay. How long is Heinrich gonna be gone?
Knowing the trek
Hard to
of
tell.
2 hours there, 2 hours back, not immediately stopping, or not immediately turning around. Fair assumption, a little while.
Party.
It's like the beginning of the campaign all over again.
Going to kind of watch the guards' movements for about an hour.
Okay.
And then after that,
Catch up with Heinrich.
Easily. Before I'm even there.
after about an hour, do I see anything other than just like the guards' ranks swelling? Or
Make a perception check.
$29.
Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second. So, digital note. Okay. The ranks swell. You see members of the Dungannon Navy, complex sleeves on some of them, so you'd imagine higher ranking officers. You see other individuals in garb that you don't quite recognize. These like larger, almost trench coat like things, similar to Morwen's in ways, but not as patchy and not as frankly in poor condition in terms of its upkeep. And then there's something even more unusual that you see, and just a glimmer. And for a second, you almost think it's somebody from Uriel's watch, Thamer perhaps, although with their injury, hard to understand how they would get there. But on the rooftops, this lithe kind of figure. and snapping your attention to it for a second, maybe a child, maybe hard to tell because they are quite quick and gone.
Resemble the halfling that I met earlier from your
Not at
research? Okay.
Baby Edward.
With that perception check, the little bits that you could glimpse may be female or closer to like maybe an androgynous sort of really hard to tell because they're quick.
Okay. I think, honestly, just gonna keep surveying the guards.
Okay.
We'll jump in if anything happens.
Okay, sure, no problem. Heinrich, you and Nilly make your way back without too much issue. The two of you are now going to continue on your way to the Bullfrog's Last Croak.
No, I
No,
thought we
you
were
guys
going to the.
We were going to meet up with them
Outside the
didn't-
catacombs?
I don't think
Okay.
we had said.
So
we were
across the street
going-
from the Bullfrog's Last Croak.
Yeah, like I don't think we had said that we were going back to Doontop because we were gonna meet up with them after we had gotten drinks, but they were like, "We're just gonna fucking go."
Shae will see you.
Yeah, Shae will see us.
All right, but I will say, because now I am drunk off of tarantulas, only eating tarantulas.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a few moments where like questionable burps, and then I'm like, "Well," it's like
Yeah.
little.
Little
Yeah, and I like downed the beer just 2 gulps to like fully.
No, I
get
chugged
the
that too.
tarantulas.
I
It
was
I
also
don't
like
want
on a
tarantulas.
mission to get
Yeah.
out as
Yeah.
quickly I
Oh,
was
yeah.
as I wasn't.
I don't know
Yeah.
why you brought us there. Why did? That
You
place
could have
is
said no.
terrible.
You didn't have to eat them, you know.
Well, yeah, but I'm hungry.
I
I
think
mean,
you
I'm
both ate
star-
both of them. Also, keeping in mind that this is a fantasy role-playing game, you still ate both of these gross tarantulas.
There's no other food in the world
You
other than what's
said
immediately
you
in front
said
of you.
I didn't handle it too bad. They weren't the worst.
They really aren't. It's really knowing
mental
what you're
thing.
eating. Yeah, it's entirely a mental thing.
I'm kind of gross.
Yeah.
So I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like Lauren's probably had this kind of thing before
You've
without
been there
knowing.
before, yeah.
I mean,
I've
I
had
ate those
to-
things in
I probably had to
Nocturne.
eat
What's the
tarantulas
difference?
before, and they probably weren't cooked.
Yeah. So, the two of you begin to head off in that direction. Shae, you continue to keep patrol, and Heinrich, you arriving back at the Doontop Manor is where we will begin when we come back from break, because it is about 10 o'clock. So,
Break.
it is 10:15. Thank you for those of you who hung out with us for the duration of this so far. I saw Talon and Doss. Nice to see you guys as well. We will be back at 10:30.
Craigslist misconnections.
Wow. Okay. So
R.I.P.
we'll see. Jesus. We'll see you then. And howdy, folks. Welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Thank you. For those of you who stuck with us through the break, give me just 1 second. I'll turn off our airport lounge music. We can jump right back into our game. What?
Y'all got it. Yeah.
I got it.
Okay. Okay. So, with the party now splitting up yet again.
Never even got back together to
Yeah, that's a good point.
Continuing distinct split.
Aca and Morwen, you guys now heading out in the direction of the crypts, or the catacombs, and the Bullfrog's Last Croak. That shot was a lot. Oh,
Shot.
The one shot.
One opportunity.
the one to take
One
the loss.
opportunity.
He's got one chance.
Mom spaghetti.
Okay. Anyways, before we lose this train completely.
In the moment.
Yeah. The two of you leave the Dark Lady's parlor. Shae, you now kind of patrolling the rooftops and keeping an eye. Heinrich, you and Neely Winslow returning to the Dune Top Manor.
I'm just kind of dropping him off.
Sure. For sake of ease.
Yeah. Uneventful walk?
Aca, yes.
Okay.
For you, an uneventful walk.
Wonderful.
Aca, Morwen, the two of you approach the catacombs after walking for close to another hour. Your buzz beginning to kind of wear off a little bit as you approach, but you can hear voices and kind of an inn as you approach, and then across the street from that, this dark, almost mouth of a cave, and you can see the kind of broken tombstones that exit it and roll back as if like a rolling hill or tongue almost into the recesses of the space.
Bringing out loose. As a lighten up.
All right. Where are they?
That's a great question. Hang on.
That's where we were supposed to meet, right?
Think they're dead.
You pull loose from the sheath, and at the moment it's dull.
You do see probably all the stuff that happened, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's gotta be bodies.
What do we
Like
see
trace
around
elements of
here?
what we just
Hang on
encountered.
one sec.
See/hear them coming.
Yes, so you see them coming for sure, but give me a second here.
I'm sure you can hear us. We're drunk and not quiet.
Yeah, we're just walking down the street like, yeah, so anyway.
Spiders and stuff.
There's
There's
a leg caught in my
You know, as
throat.
long as you don't crunch on the bodies,
pipe
it wasn't that
cleaner.
bad.
Shae, you hear them coming before you see them, but
I sneeze and a leg comes out of my nose. At the...
Morwen and Aca loudly make their way down the street. From where you are, you actually, the first thing that you hear is like, is that a tabaxi? And as you turn, you can see just loudly, it's Morwen like shoving Aca at some point in this conversation. Aca kind of like stumbles a little bit. He seems like his footing is not great at the moment for some reason. But they approach. Are you doing anything?
Gonna wait a second and see where they go.
Okay. Zooming back down to street level, Aca, as you regain your footing, you look in front of you and you do see there are shapes lying on the street, kind of pushed to the sides. But as you get closer, you see this huge orc kind of take one more like corpse, and you can now see, and thump it down into a pile. He begins walking off back, and you can see maybe like a dozen Dungannon Navy, a variety of other more uniformed individuals outside this catacomb.
I'm not approaching too hot now.
Okay, slow down. a
But I
little.
do want to go over to one of the bodies, just get a little poke.
Okay. You walk
You
over
alright,
to the
dude?
body, and you can see this decrepit, decaying flesh, gray-green, like sloughed off a little bit. You can see like burn marks. You see, like, it's just the top half of a torso, really. But they don't seem to be doing that well.
You good?
They don't respond.
He's fine.
What? You think they did
Think
this?
there's dead people.
Yeah.
How close are they to me at this point?
At this point,
Let's
they're
go
maybe
home.
30 feet away, and then 40 feet down. 25 feet down. I thought I was
Where do you think Shae and Heinrich are?
I think
I'm
Shay's
gonna
on a
wait until
roof,
they're
and I
close enough
think
to drop down like in between them.
Okay.
Shay's on a roof, and I think Heinrich is
I mean more like in the specific sense, like not just generally. Like yeah,
I don't know, like
Shae's
right there.
Probably on a roof.
Shae, you watch as Morwen begins to gesture to all the roofs across from you.
Like look up, like yeah, it's probably somewhere up there.
Yeah.
As you look up, your eyes trace up the top or the sides of the anchor. And looking up, there are like carved pathways and like ledges and places where entire neighborhoods exist along these almost recesses that have been worn into the grooves of this mesa. You do not see Shae.
Yeah. Maybe they're late.
They're probably late. Because we're on time, clearly. Yeah.
I mean, we're here first.
Here, why don't you go ask them what's up? I can't do it.
Who?
All the people over there. I'm gonna fuck off into this corner if you're gonna do that. I don't have a good relationship with these guys.
Oh, because you're a pirate. Yeah.
That's rude.
I mean,
really rude.
You literally told us that you were a pirate.
I don't think I've ever identified as a pirate.
Okay, well, you said things that made it sound like you were a pirate because you were
Okay,
friends
well
with.
you're like trying to steal stuff too, so.
I mean, I'm not judging you for it.
It sounds judgmental.
No, it's just a
It
fact
sounds
of the-
judgmental.
At this
I would
point-
really like
why
you to
you
just
don't
go
want to
ask them the
not talk to the
question
Navy.
and not involve me any further. I'm walking away. I'm walking away.
criminal activity, then I would understand why you.
I'm walking
Do all the
away.
guards just like walk up to this?
And I'm going into the alley.
At this point, as you guys begin to raise your voices, you see this older man approach, all black uniform. You can see the sleeves have these complicated kind of golden, almost like tendrils that go from the elbow up to the shoulder. Morwen, you recognize this as an officer from the Dungannon Navy, just from
I
the
don't like
uniform
that.
alone. He's older, but he approaches and just kind of, is there a problem here?
Not
We've
at all,
had-
sir.
Oh,
Not at
sorry,
all.
we're just having an argument about. We were supposed to meet our friends here, and they're not here, and it looks like something happened, right?
Listen, there's been an uprising of undead, and you're not safe here, so please
We will leave
continue
immediately.
on your way.
Yes,
It's okay,
thank you for
we're-
the suggestion. I'm walking away.
You turn and you walk.
We're just
I'm
looking
sweating.
for our friends.
As you're talking, you can see he's like kind of looking after Morwen.
I like. We're just looking for our
Just
friends.
acting
Just a minute,
casual.
sir.
But
Excuse me! Tabaxi!
she's.
Yes, there's no other come here.
She's deaf in one ear.
He
Can't-
walks up and
She
he
can't hear very well. Just so.
holds out a hand and stop you. Do you know why I called you over here?
No, officer, I don't.
You've got a bit of zombie on your foot. Kind of look down. There's like two fingers that are like pinched around the ankle.
Good eye.
Thank you, so kind. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Sometimes the pieces, they can come back.
Oh, absolutely. Don't they?
He
Okay.
turns to you.
Scurry.
You were saying something.
No, we were just looking for our friends. They were supposed to be here, but no one got killed by the zombies, right?
He
Undead.
turns and looks around. I think we were lucky this time.
Okay. So they were probably just late. Okay. I'm gonna start running after Morwen.
So you watch now as Morwen passes underneath you, and you see Aca kind of hurrying to catch up.
As
I think they were
Morwen's
just-
walking
they weren't
by,
here
just
'cause
kind of dropping, so then like
No one
walking beside
died.
her.
They
So,
were either here and
Aca,
they
as you
left,
start talking to Morwen, suddenly Shae
Oh.
just drops right in between you.
There she is.
I found her.
Yeah,
Hi,
What?
Shae.
where's Heinrich?
Dropping Nellie Winslow off with Uriel's watch.
Would I know who Nilly Winslow is?
Yes, certainly.
Oh, we gotta go say hi to Willie. What's his name?
Nilly.
Willie.
Well, you guys know Nilly Winslow?
Oh, fuck yeah, we do. He's
He-
my buddy.
Traveled with us for a little while.
Okay.
Does Aca believe this? Is this like a thing that Aca believes now, given the...
Like, yes, but kind of like, that's almost too good to be true. Like,
Sure.
even for them.
Here, we'll introduce ya.
Okay.
Don't embarrass me.
Clearly,
Yeah.
you two enjoyed your stop.
Yeah, we ate
It was
spiders.
very
It was absolutely
lucrative.
disgusting.
Oh, that was the bad part.
You
But
can
it
see
was
this like old lady walking by, just kind of like makes a grimace and hurries up on her way.
very productive. We had a very productive. What happened here? You were also productive, it seems.
Were you as productive as we were?
We were quite productive.
Sure. There was a large group of undead that rose up.
Oh, it is the
Aw, we missed
catacombs.
it.
You did.
That sucks.
Well, there's probably. Have you visited the catacombs yet?
Not yet. I have seen some creatures that probably belong to the druids here and there, but
Oh, yeah. We were supposed to look for the druids.
Well, that's why we're here now. Oh. All right, so I guess we should look for
Should we start looking for the
clues
druids?
for the druids.
I'm gonna kind of point them in the direction of the entrance.
Okay. You follow Shay's finger past the Dungannon gentleman that you had just kind of seen and spoken to, over his shoulder, past like about, I would say, close to 8 or 9 other individuals, and then into this dark recess beyond. Morwen, you do know a little bit about this, and I would say probably you would as well. Dungannin Catacombs. Make a history check.
Who knows more?
Make a
Aw,
history check,
damn.
both of you. We'll find out.
Find out. History dice roll.
The most exciting one.
Oh! CX.
Mine is, I think it's a 15.
Well,
Okay.
that beats me.
You know a little more about this space.
Yeah, no, it's 15.
The Dungannon Catacombs were originally created as a place to lay the souls to rest and the remains of those who died during the Dawn Uprising, the event that took place to allow the people of Dungannon to break free of a tyrannical king, who was also a vampire. Not that, it's pretty common
I knew
knowledge.
about this. Yeah.
It began as that, and so when you enter, you do know that there's this beautiful, or you've not seen it, but you've heard that there is a beautiful kind of fortress monument that's built underground
A
and
mausoleum.
No, this is almost an entrance, and so you have to walk through a fortress that is a sort of miniaturized version of Castle Koch. And it is called the Fortress of Sacrifice. There are these symbolic representations of soldiers built within that are supposed to be keeping guard for the things laid to rest within. Beyond that, there is something called the Eternal Ossuary, which is where the actual bones of those individuals that were heroes of that event are laid to rest. And then beyond that, there's the People's Ossuary, which is a more common kind of catacomb for everybody else.
Okay.
Aside from that, you don't know a ton. You haven't been there, but you've heard of it. Morwen, some dead people in there.
That's enough for me.
No.
Oh, well, it was made after the Dawn Uprising.
That it does.
I'm gonna say all the
Yeah,
stuff that
you
you
read.
was. And then there was the king who was deposed, and he may or may not have been a vampire, legend says.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I know about it.
Alright.
So, are we waiting for Heinrich, or are we investigating the catacombs over there? The door, presumably to the catacombs.
And so it is less a door, more like a 40-foot wide
yeah.
cave mouth. And Morwen, as you follow Aca's point,
I guess you.
there are like
over
a
there.
dozen Dungannon Navy officers and other kind of individuals guarding that space.
I don't think this is a good time.
Came
Oh,
all this
surely
here.
more when you could beat me in a
Just
game
sneak
of hiding
past
from.
it. Just hide. You just.
Not feeling too good about that right now.
We came all this way here. I want to spend all my time in Dungannon just walking around.
I was going to wait for at least the majority of us.
Is that here now?
What's the majority? 3 is the majority of 4.
Maybe we should wait for Heinrich.
Yeah,
No,
like
he's
they
just-
waited for us.
Well, the longer we wait, maybe the less of them there will be.
You can just sneak by them.
Okay, how sneakable does the situation look for a
For you?
buzzed Morwen?
Dude, you can't roll less
Well,
than
wait,
25.
how
Buzz Morwen?
drunk am I?
Even with
is there...
disadvantage, you can't roll lower
Buzz
than like
Morwen.
It's true.
ridiculous
Probably
number.
like-
I mean,
like,
it's
could do
true.
anything.
But these are kind of my enemies here.
So
So I
no.
am a little sweaty. Like, yes, I think I could get by, but the chance that I don't is enough that I'm
see
nervous.
That guy was like 375 years old. He
Give or
probably
take.
couldn't even
Yeah,
see.
okay. But, you know, like 10 375-year-olds against one 5-year-old is kind of overpowering.
kind of a weird.
That's a very strange way of putting it, but not
But
inaccurate.
Shae's here
I-
too.
Tell you what, Morwen, I can show you the ways that I found around them. I've had some time here.
Why don't
Say
I-
less. Let's
I'll
do
just
it.
go on in.
Say less.
We'll come up with some way to get in. You just slip past
Morwen,
when we walk
Follow me.
by.
And I'm
Okay.
just
But
going.
if I get arrested, you guys,
All right,
you gotta
I guess
bail me
I'll-
out.
I'll just meet you guys there.
I can't
or
go
we,
back.
We sneaking in? Is that? Are we
You
all?
watch
doing
as
it?
Shay is now like 10 feet away.
Are we all
I'm
sneaking in or should I?
like going up a building, like
Sure.
Communication is a very
I'm trying to
important
follow
part
you, but
of
I'm just like-
working as a cohesive
Make an
unit.
acrobatics check at disadvantage.
Well, I do have a climbing speed, so I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
you do?
not
Actually, never
horrible
mind.
at
You're
it.
fine.
I can't keep up, but
So,
I can do it.
Shay-
I remember
I mean,
what we
I'm
talked
not-
about.
speed racing away from her. Like,
Yeah.
Doing it in a way that Morwen could follow.
Which is you like leaping about 10 feet, stopping, turning, waiting for Morwen, who a little intoxicated and like continuously looking over her shoulder at these individuals. But you make it up without issue. As do you. And now up on the rooftops, where are you going?
Toward the catacombs.
Okay. Catacombs is across the
Ground
street.
by herself.
Yeah, I'm just like, Laura, remember what we talked about? Communication is a very important part of being part of the cohesive unit.
Are you yelling that?
I'm whisper yelling.
Okay.
I am whisper shushing. Or
Suddenly,
yelling.
you see
Yelling shush.
the guards all like turn to look over at Aca, in turn, kind of looking and seeing you. Well, actually,
just
no,
like
not seeing
all
you
there.
guys. Actually, so they turn, they kind of look
Turn
at
and I'm
Aca.
like, oh.
You see the older gentleman look at you and just kind of turn his head, and then he starts to walk over. He comes over to
I'm
you,
coming.
and
I'll come to you.
okay, you guys meet halfway in between. While this is happening, Shae, you and Morwen kind of follow the rooftops and make your way over until you're about. There's a 30-foot gap to get across the street and then to the catacombs.
Okay.
There are jagged bits of rock on the outside of the catacombs that you could theoretically leap to or make your way to. What do you want to do?
That's my plan.
Make an acrobatics check. Morwen, you turn, you get to the top, finally catching up to Shae. The world sways a bit to your intoxicated brain. You blink for a second and look, and Shae is like halfway across the gap.
Oh, great.
23.
Shae is all the way across the gap, and you
Wonderful.
watch as she just touches down, lands, and then just turns, and you can see not the eyes at this distance, but looking at you.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I'll just follow you.
Make an acrobatics check to leap 30 feet across the
How'd you
street.
climb?
I could have done that.
It's an acrobatics check. I have expertise, baby.
Yeah,
I can...
that's true.
Oops.
It's a high,
Oops.
it's a high
Come on.
DC.
What, are you drunk?
No Jumanjis, no Jumanjis.
It's right next to the bed.
Oh, got it. Excuse me.
Do you need a dice?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Foot.
Oh my
What's
God.
easier? Wow.
Oh, my foot
really
can't
getting into the
reach.
role play.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's a 25. I can't roll below 25, so.
Okay.
There we go.
25 is exactly what you needed.
Okay. But it's going to be like a little, like,
So, what it really ends up
not
being
graceful.
is you watch as from the other side, you land, you turn, and you can see Morwen, the tail, which is up, kind of drop. And then Morwen takes a couple steps back, runs and
Flying
leaps, and you can
squirrel.
see the foot at the last second kind of slip, and Morwen like pinwheels on top. Aca, out of the corner of your eye, you see the red jacket like flutter in the air. You see the older man kind of begin to turn and look up at this fluttering sound. Morwen, you have to like land on like another like crop of rock and like hold tight to the side. Make a stealth check at disadvantage as this gentleman now turns up looking
I'll
around.
be like, did you hear that? I think. There it goes.
All right.
Make a deception
That's
check.
not bad. Okay, it was a 27 at
Okay.
disadvantage.
All right. I don't think have I done deception, maybe, but things. That's a 14.
14.
Yeah.
Go.
He holds up a hand and goes, no,
All day
one
lights.
moment. And he is looking up. You, turning and looking, you see standing out very specifically to you off the side of this like jagged, dirty brown gravestone. You see the single tail of Morwen just like over the side. You watch as the old eyes of this individual kind of scan this area, and then he turns back to you. Sorry, you were saying.
Oh, I'm with the Dungannon Antiquities Collective. I'm here to investigate the goings on here. So I was just going to make my way over to the catacombs.
Well, what do they think is happening?
Well, we're not sure, but there's a suspicion that there might be an artifact involved that is causing the dead to come back to life. So
Well-
I'm going to do my due diligence, if you don't mind.
He leans forward and
We're starting.
just kind of sniffs your breath. He's going to say, Sir, I can't let you go in there alone.
Oh, don't
Peter,
worry.
and
I'm
he
quite
kind of calls one of the
capable.
other guards over.
I'm quite capable. More than capable.
This Navy cadet, you see no insignia on his black sleeves, runs over and just kind of snaps off a salute. It is not. He turns and says, Peter, accompany this young elf into the catacombs.
incredibly
He's
fine.
here with the
I'm a
Dungannon.
professional.
Hey! I understand that you're a professional, but this is our jurisdiction. Please accompany this Dungannon Antiquities Collective member into the catacombs. They're searching for an artifact. Is one person enough, do you think?
I think one person is more than enough. Much more than enough.
Make a persuasion check. You just watched like a whole bunch of undead come out of this cave.
That's a 16.
You were just engaged in an argument with me.
I'm going to use a flash of genius to make it a 21.
Very well. And just for the report, what is your name? I'm sorry, it shouldn't take that long to answer your name. Make a deception check at disadvantage.
Okay.
It's funny, my name's also Peter.
That's why I can't go with Peter. It's
we
too
in the
confusing.
collective use our initials. You can just put it down as AK.
What was your roll? A 9?
Yeah.
I really need the whole name. It's a documentation and such, but AK stands for.
Aca.
I'm sorry.
Aca.
You see Peter just kind of. You said Aca,
Yes.
like the food item.
Yes, like the food item.
Very well, Aca, and he writes it down. Last name.
Katara.
He begins to write it and says,
Yes.
"Your name is."
Yes.
Food.
He writes it down. No, that is not what that means. He writes it down. You see the eyebrow kind of raise. Very well. Stay safe in there.
Yep, I will. Thank you very much, sir. I'm walking past.
You see this guy scuttles to keep up with you.
Stay lively, Peter. Let's go.
He nods and just kind of goes, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah,
I haven't
I'm
gotten
glad
any real
one of
missions
us
yet.
is.
He gets really close to you and just kind of says, so what do they think is in there? You know, we have our theories.
It's a bunch of dead people.
Well, yeah, they're catacombs.
Yeah.
We know that. But I
Yeah.
mean, what's making them come out? Because usually they stay inside.
Well, that's why we're going down to find out, Peter. So
You
get
both
your...
hear underneath as like Aca walks into this like space that begins to echo within the walls.
Get your fighting pants on.
In the Dungannon Navy, we always wear our fighting pants, even when we go to sleep. It's
course
part of
you
our
do.
always staying ready.
Yeah.
Have you been to the catacombs before? It's quite beautiful if you go in. Very somber.
Yeah, I'm
of
about
course.
to be in there too. So like, just calm down.
I won't spoil it for you. You got to enjoy it
You're not
organically.
spoil. The only thing you're spoiling right now is my mood. I'm starting to nurse a very bad headache, so just please.
As you walk into this space, kind of quietly now, echoing even in the quiet, every now and then, the ground's very uneven. And so as you walk, it kind of crunches underneath you. Give me 1 second here. Okay. As you kind of begin to walk in, now the tombstone's getting smaller and smaller as you walk. And you look and you can see, like, over time, they've been worn and worn away. You look to your right and you can see he's still sort of talking to you and just saying, when we get to the monument, it's really exciting. I think you're really going to enjoy the symbology of all 50 centuries. But as you're, like, turning and looking, you can see here and there, near these tombstones, there are places where the ground has been, like, ripped away and things have burst up from within.
I'm gonna take a second to, like, pretend like I'm looking at it and investigating it,
Sure.
but it's more as like a
Where's Shae?
trying to, like, kill some time to be like, all right, Morwen and Shae, get the fuck out here so I don't have to deal with Peter.
Okay. So
Just, like, still ignoring him and just be like,
make an investigation check. For you, Shae and Morwen, you can hear this whole conversation. You hear this guy, like, begin to, like, go over the history of the Dungannin Catacombs, and Aca just kind of shuts it down. What are you two doing?
I'm following her.
Okay.
Making my way in, trying to keep pace with Aca, but out of sight for the most part.
Okay. Make a stealth check. The
I
pace is not a
assume
problem.
Both?
You already made a stealth check, so
Oh, okay.
you feel pretty hidden.
sneaking around.
And
Sneaking my way downtown.
22?
So quietly, the two of you kind of crawl down the cave entrance and into the actual cave, dropping down to the shadows. Shae, with the mask on, you're able to see in gray tone. You see, maybe 30 feet ahead, Aca bending down, seeming to peer into this like open hole, although his head's not like turning or anything. You see the cadet behind, almost like you see the hand above Aka's shoulder, like about to kind of lean on it, but like clearly aware he probably shouldn't, and is like trying to look over his shoulder and is still talking to him and saying things like, once we get past the Eternal Ossuary, it's going to be a lot bigger, and so it's important that we stay together and really kind of tighten up. We should try to like make a system where you look left and I look right when we get to an intersection, because you can
about
be
you
ambushed from
just-
any...
Calm down.
I am going to try to scare Peter.
Okay. How are you going to do that?
How dimly lit is this? Dark? Is it dark down
yeah.
here? Okay. I think I'm gonna try to. Does he have like a light around him?
No?
So no one's got like lights going on. And is Peter human?
Yeah, as far as you can tell. Make a perception check.
So you can't see shit.
14.
14. Again, you can see like the hand hovering over the shoulder. Less probably for support and more like wants to make sure that Aca doesn't just leave him behind. Probably can't see that great.
Okay. I'm going to. The way I want to try to scare Peter away is using Frank
Okay.
on the tail and myself in the shadows.
Okay.
And I'm going to just like float Frank's head towards Peter and just be like, leave now.
So, suddenly, Aca, as you're like, where are they? You kind of look up.
I'm
and-
assuming Aca will recognize Frank because
Yes,
he's just,
I'm sure.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
such a.
It's probably more the tail that it's attached to, but either way, suddenly you see this skull just swish down. You see Peter suddenly just go, and you feel this tap on your shoulder,
What?
and you see Peter's face now just pale in the dark, kind of looking up and just pointing at the skull now, like a couple inches away.
I'm gonna be like, run back.
Peter turn
I'll handle
and
this.
start running, and he just says, "We need help in here."
No, we don't need help. We're fine. I'll handle it. Just go.
You see all of a sudden,
No,
like
no,
three
no, no,
torches
no, no,
lit at the entrance.
No. False alarm. It
The older
reacts to
gentleman
movement.
now at the beginning kind of stops at the entrance and says, "Peter, what is it?"
It reacts to movement
You see-
and noise.
Oh no! When Peter ran away,
Yeah.
I'm hiding Frank and I am hiding myself. I do not want to be
Make
involved
another
at
stealth
all.
check
No.
as the Dungannon Navy approaches.
Oh dear. That is a 28.
Okay. You just disappear into the
Yeah, I'm
darkness.
just like,
Shae,
oh, shit.
you never, as far as you can tell, have been seen. You still kind of lurk into the corners. Aca, you very much now kind of turn, and 4 members of the Dungannon Navy and Peter approach you. What seems to be the problem?
Just
You see like swords drawn, torches.
this is why I didn't want to bring Peter. He's a noble lad, but this is above his pay grade. So I think I'll take it from here. I'm a professional. I will handle the situation, and I'll report back. But for the safety of the Navy, we don't want to stretch you thin. There's
Make
a
a
lot
deception check.
going on.
There we go.
That's 19.
There it is.
You could see he looks over at Peter, who's like shaking still a little bit, and he looks over at you, and he looks at Peter and goes, "What was it that you saw, anyways?" And Peter turns, and just goes,
Potential
"It was a
wraith."
floating wraith."
Potential. I only got a glimpse of it. I wouldn't have even noticed if Peter weren't there.
The other guards all turn. You just hear them just like, "Wraith, no," and then, like they're all like turning, and you can see he just looks and goes, "If you need help, come back and let us know. But we'll secure the entrance."
That sounds like a plan. Make sure no one else comes in. Unless it's my associate. He's a tiefling with red hair.
Does he have a
red?
name?
Red.
Skin.
Heinrich. Yeah.
If we see this individual, we'll let him pass, and we'll tell him where you are on
Okay,
the way
great.
to.
Oh, and also there might be small human monk-looking, wearing garb, orange.
All right.
My associates.
Associates as well. All right.
Associates as well. That's maybe a pet too, but
Are they credentialed? Do they have the badge, or
they're kind of trainees.
make another deception check?
15?
His eyes narrow for a second. The keeping of human beings as pets is illegal
Not a
in
human
Dungannon.
being. No, they aren't human beings. Are a fighting animal, like a kind of a trained dog. They might bring one. Not a trained dog, however.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I'm confused.
A trained tabaxi.
What?
I am
She's a little
so
skittish
offended.
around zombies.
He takes you by the arm pretty gruffly and pulls you like 5 feet away from the group. And he leans in and he says, "Look, we'll send your associates after you, but you need to understand. Tabaxi are people too.
Yeah, like what the fuck? A trained sentient creature that is their own.
Not to,
We are not
I
going
don't know
to
how much they know
stand."
about Morwen as a pirate.
Being racist is a terrible
But you're
way to
already
go about
screaming
it.
my name and they didn't recognize it. So
but
I
I'm
think we
coming
can let this
down now.
slide. God damn.
I'm not sure where you're from, but Dungannon is a progressive city.
Yes, no,
Cut your
Yes,
losses,
okay.
kid.
I will handle the potential threats downstairs. You guard the entrance. If my associates come through, please allow them to pass. I'm gonna go.
He's going to stop you, and he's going to say, "Look, I would recommend spending some time at the Philosopher's Church. Ask Sybil to point you in the direction of maybe some more enlightening literature about the differences that really bring us together."
Yeah, no, I am very well aware. Yeah.
I'm just waiting in the dark, just like,
Yeah, tapping your foot.
yep.
All right. Thank you for your wisdom. I'm just gonna
He turns to the rest and goes, "Let's go, boys!" And they all turn, and you can see Peter stops for just a second and kind of looks up at the sky, sort of, and then he hurries to catch up. But after a couple of seconds, the three of you are left alone in this space.
Once they're gone, I will walk out and make myself known to Aca.
I will too, begrudgingly, after Shae. And we'll stay behind Shae. Nice safe distance.
So...
Well done. And just
Thanks a lot, buddy.
walking.
What was I supposed to say?
A tabaxi.
Yeah, but I don't know how much they know about you.
Already walking.
I'm trying to protect your identity.
Well, they clearly know I'm not a trained beast, so...
I don't know if you're going to walk out of the catacomb and you're supposed to be you're hiding from them. You don't want to go past them.
Aca, that's 2 days with the cloak.
I don't know, just
that's
pretend
2
to be-
days. Let's get this over with.
And Morwen, with a swish of the tail, turns and walks off.
Hey Shae, did I tell you how Morwen is the best and the coolest and the cutest and the most
Shae was walking through that entire
really,
argument and is not there.
really great member, the best member of the Finger Gang.
About
Something
55
else
feet
about-
away is Shae at this point. You watch as she passes out of your
following,
darkness.
I'm following.
You all begin to walk, and you pass about 65 feet of broken gravestones. They get smaller and smoother as you go, as they get older, and they roll back into the dark. And at the end, you do begin to see this large structure looming up in front of you. But, Heinrich, I'm going to return to you at the Dunetop Manor. 1 second here. So, after a relatively unremarkable walk, you pull up at the Dunetop Manor as Nilly Winslow kind of finishes his story, regaling you with where he's been. Which, just as a brief recap, after he left you, a second here, write it down so I wouldn't forget. He spent a little bit of time. He headed to Nanook, and after finding that there was some damage to the research area that he was going to go visit and kind of visit an old friend, he traveled to Dark Meadow, met up with another friend, and helped drive cattle down to just a little bit north of Dungannon. Found his way over here, trying to play a few shows before jumping on a ship, and his intent is to head to Everest next. But as soon as you guys kind of arrive around Dunetop Manor, he says, but, you know, it was dead the whole time anyway, so not really a lost cow in the end.
Well, ain't that a story?
Thinking about doing a song. Which, speaking of,
Yeah, Marvin's been really asking. You
I
don't have to.
I
You
feel
don't
really
have
bad
to.
about that song that I left behind, but I'd only heard a little bit about y'all, and based on my observations of Morwen, she seemed to be kind of a scaredy cat. I don't know if that's insensitive to say, but I took a little bit of time after I heard what y'all did, and I reworked the song a little bit, and really kind of a new thing now.
Yeah.
But, give me a second here. Can't remember where I wrote that song down. It's a whole thing.
Scaredy cat. Scaredy cat.
She
Poops her pants wherever she's at.
Well done.
Thank you.
I did rework the song. It's still kind of a work in progress, and really it's about Gunter, because he is the Slayer of Nightmares, and
Right.
once it's done, I'll play it for you.
Sure.
But it's called There Was One More. It's kind of, it goes into each of you and talks a little bit about, actually, I do want to talk a little bit about what happened, because I've heard some conflicting reports.
Right.
And I would like this to be kind of a historically accurate ballad, you know? But anyways, and as you approach the Dunetop Manor,
Correct history to its accurate representation.
nods his head, and the little pigtails kind of moving, and he says, "This the place?"
Is that we're at it?
Yeah, you
I'd be
can like look up the staircase. You
Oh,
see
yeah.
Thamor
Yeah.
up at the top.
I'd wave to Thamor, like, yep, this is where they've sort of set up their base. Again, it's not really. It's more just where you can stay tonight. That's certainly secure, and then go about wherever you'd feel most comfortable.
Oh, sure. I'm comfortable
get
just
it.
about anywhere.
Well, you get with the zombies and all that stuff. I just wanted to just let you know.
Is that a
this
Fort
place
Quinn thing? The Zambies?
No. It's not. It's not.
Kinda
It's
like
more
it.
of
I hadn't heard
a.
it
It's more of
before.
a funny way to keep our spirits up about the whole macabre nature of everything. We just make light of it. Anyways, that's one of the best things about Morwen is always making light of pretty much everything. You said she's a scaredy cat. Not so much. Not so much.
I mean, she was pretty
Unfortunately,
terrified.
the powers of certain creatures can definitely grab hold of her a little more easily than others. But when she gets into it, she's quite fierce and quite terrifying, actually.
Make a persuasion check.
Much nicer words that have been spoken about me recently.
You got that would be 14.
Trained pet.
14.
Yeah.
You can see he kind of nods a little bit and goes, "Well, that's not really what I remember, and quite frankly, not really what I heard. But I mean, you were there, you would know. So maybe I can rework this a little bit." And you can see he seems to start like thinking a little bit about how he might
Ferocity
do
is
that.
probably a word I'd attribute to the most, at least in terms of moments of valor or whatever.
I don't really ferocity, viscosity. He starts like trying to think about how to rhyme it.
Oops.
However,
Anyways. Yeah. So this is where I guess you can certainly safely stay tonight.
all right.
And
Well,
just walk up, I guess.
Sure.
As we're walking
he
up. I'd be
follows
saying
you
that.
up. You can see as you approach. Now, there is a brand new table that has been kind of laid out. You can see actually still kind of like finishing up some adjustments on it is the halfling that you met previously, Perdo. There's Thamor and Nazara both present in that room. Nazara smiles and kind of
Yeah.
nods. The teal hair now kind of like drawn back into sort of like a ponytail. But they both nod to you.
Introductions around.
Sure, yeah. Everybody is introduced.
Anyone eaten yet? Anyone hungry?
Perdo smiles and just says, "Well, I brought something back.
Oh, you did.
Of course.
What'd you
yeah.
bring back?
Just a moment." And he turns and kind of like, you see barefoot hobbles on and around the sort of great room corner. About 5 minutes goes by and he comes back with a huge, like a very rustic looking cutting board. It's really just like a smooth, planed piece of wood. It's like a charcuterie board, but just cheese.
Okay. Like, you know what would go really good with this? And I'm
I
gonna-
mean, a number of things. I had a few teas that would be really great with it, and if there was some dried meats, although I could not find any at the little.
And I'm holding all this in my mind as he keeps listing stuff off.
Sure. Some kind of a pickled element is always good to cut across the richness of the cheese, and you can reset your palate each time. And I would say maybe sort of a drier red wine.
Yes. And I pull out the Gamble's little food thing and
Sure.
just boop with all that in mind.
Okay. So as you say that, this thing suddenly begins to like unravel and almost phasing into reality. These beautiful cheeses and meats, and there's like a thing of grapes and like this huge gold platter, and it like expands and expands. You see the mouth open a little bit and then wider, and then the jaw drops.
Yeah.
And for a halfling, his mouth hangs wide. You see Thamor even kind of like the mouth open a little bit before it shuts, and he turns and kind of nods.
Yeah.
But after a moment, there is this wide plate of dried meats. You can see like a prosciutto kind of thing like piled up on one side. The little tiny Gershon pickles in like a little gold dish. You can see pickled vegetables, what look like blanched almonds, blueberries. A beautiful spread.
And like, well, Nelly, welcome to, I guess the Uriel's Watch headquarters? Question mark. And I look over at.
Perdo looks up at you, his mouth full of cheese, and he just goes,
Yeah, Doontop Manor, fine, but Dungannon and all that, and good to see you again, and also like thank you all for hosting us for the time being, and plus something good like this to sort of counteract all the negativity going on right now.
Thamor looks for a minute and says, "Are you the bard, Nilly Winslow?" And Nilly Winslow goes, "Well, the one and the same. Glad you heard of me. You know, been around here and there." And you can see Thamor just kind of like nods, looks at you,
Yeah.
and
So
just
we saved him up in the bone meadow near, in the north, north of,
I'm aware of the Bone Meadow. Yes.
what's it called? What's that area called? The north? The
Yeah.
frozen north?
The region name is the North. Anything that is
so I was
north of the
accurate in
frost
saying that.
or the frost line on up is really the north.
Cool.
And then on the west coast, that kind of ends right around Dark Meadow where it becomes the Meadowlands.
Right, okay. So then I keep with what I had just said.
Sure. Nazara is going to kind of nod a little bit and say, "There has been a bit of a strange commotion that has happened. Is that all of you?"
Around here or down lower anchor area?
I would imagine the lower anchor area,
Yeah.
just based on traffic.
Yeah, just outside of the catacombs, where Nilly had been playing. Shae and I were tracking what we thought to be either members or familiars of this druid circle that
You see-
exists down there.
Nilly kind of perks up and he turns and goes, "Oh, you're talking about the vermin collars."
Yes, that's the name that I was given. Yes.
I wasn't aware they stuck around. I mean, I know they kind of scattered a little bit about a week ago, right when I was getting into town. I do know a number of them. Useful for traveling, especially around this region.
Right. You don't say. What drove them out?
I'm not sure, but what I've learned about them across my travels is when they leave, it's generally a good time to do so. And given what we just saw back there, they probably caught wind of it before we did.
Well, that makes me kind of worry because, as far as I know, once Morwen and Aca got there, they were going to go into the catacombs. So I should probably head out and make sure they're safe.
You can see Nilly turns and says, "Well, that is troubling, though. I mean, did you see about these guys, or you just hear about them being in town?"
Well, that they exist in that area was what we were told. That's where we were supposed to look for them. It's part of this ongoing investigation we have, pretty much the source of all of what's going on here. But we thought that they might be tied to it somehow. Not responsible, mind you, but...
Interesting.
Well, what would you know that might help shed light on this?
I mean, what do you want to know about them?
Well, you say you know them. What do they have a... Obviously, from normal society, not a favorable reputation, but personally interacting with them, do they
Listen.
seem like they would be involved in... No, they wouldn't be causing this, right?
No. I mean, petty thievery,
Well,
maybe a little bit of that. And there's a few of them that like to drink, and they can get a little rowdy, but,
Okay.
you know, it's really nothing more than a bar fight. Just they can turn into wolves and things. They're
Okay.
druids.
Right. True. Good. Okay. Well, then what did you say? You said curious when I mentioned that they were somehow related to this. What?
Right, because they're mostly gone as far as I knew.
I see. About a week ago. I'm trying to remember where it was from whom that we were giving instructions that they were part of it. Was that the dude that we kidnapped?
So
Or
you've
was
heard
that
about the
from-
rat collar or the vermin collar druids from two different sources.
Right.
But the reason that you guys are kind of tracking them down is because you heard the Midnight Assembly was tasked with finding a druid named Rex.
And they were most likely okay. Gotcha. That's
this
what
is
it
really
was.
the only connection that you've
That's
made
what
to
it
druids.
was.
So
That's
that's
what
why
it
you've been
was.
following them.
Right. So now, back in. Did you happen to know any of them personally named? You know, any of them named Rex by chance? Does that sound familiar?
I mean, I know a druid named Rex, but not a vermin collar.
You know, a druid named Rex.
Sort of.
In and around this
He's,
area.
kind of out towards the Badlands a little bit.
Okay.
At least
east,
now.
southeast,
South.
straight south.
Straight south.
Okay.
He's relatively new to the area, and I don't, to be truthful, know that he's a druid for sure, because he kind of hangs out like a rock most of the time. But as far as I know, I think he's a turtle.
Okay. That is very helpful. Do you have a way of locating them or knowing where they might be now?
I know. I mean, I know where Rex's oasis is, but I haven't been there myself. He just kind of told me.
Okay. Could I get the rough directions?
Yeah, and so he kind of tells you. Well, I mean, what I can tell you is it's in the Badlands, somewhere a little bit west of an area called the Warp. Not a real pleasant place, so I'd steer clear of it if you could. There's not a lot dangerous, at least not immediately around the oasis. I guess what he was saying was he was just a desert when he got there, and he had fled some kind of a temple. It's a wild story. But he created an oasis, has built a house there. There's like a little spring or something like that. It's supposed to be a nice place.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you. That actually helps us a lot. And that makes me worry even more about this maybe dead-end journey into the catacombs that my friends are probably doing right now.
Yeah, that's a good pun.
Yeah. I'm going to go enjoy the food. Can I, like, take it off of the plate and, like, recollect the thing? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm just going to, like, and, like, close it back up.
Like a slight hand check. You can do, like, the table, like, the weight, like, pull the tablecloth out.
Yeah. I'm going to just, like, all right, I'm going to get going. And I'm, like, doing this in a hurry because now I'm kind of, like, worried for their safety.
All the food goes flying.
Yeah. No, I won't. Oh, hell no, it won't.
No,
it's 27.
You can see.
I'm just like, I gotta go.
And Perdo goes, "Moo!" And he's like mouthful of food, and you you can see just the
As
single.
I'm doing it, I'm like shrinking it back down.
The single golden cup that has those almonds in it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it just stays. A single almond kind of slides around the rim, but doesn't fall. And you shove it back up and put it in your bag. You can see Perdo like stopping still, like about to grab the thing, and just goes.
If you hear any more commotion, or if I don't send message to you guys in 2 hours, catacombs. No, not 2 hours. It's gonna take me 2 hours to get there. Shit, it's gonna take me a while to get there. In a little while, by tomorrow, I don't know, something. Come look in the catacombs. I'll send my owl. I'll send an owl to you. If we're all good, but what time is it?
Give or take, as far as you could tell, because you were walking underneath the moon and everything, probably closer to like 11, 12 o'clock at night now.
So then I know that if I stay, like, if we're not, back by first light, that's a fair amount of time for me to get there, and then all this to probably whatever we're doing down there go on.
Thamor says,
it's like 4 or 5 hours.
Do you have an item that you could part with? Something that's been on your person for some time?
Oh my goodness, do I? I'm just going to reach into the bag hastily and pull out the first thing that I land on, which is the ancient elvish lantern.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got something in here. This has been with us since, about like three and a half months ago. Here you go.
You see, he actually pulls away from it for a second, and he goes, where did you obtain that?
The Heart and Sunrise Styles.
In the Sunrise Islands.
Yeah, long story short, it seemed like interdimensionally shifted parts and rooms that were all overlapping.
That's a spire lantern.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Is this dangerous?
No, but it comes from Everest.
Right.
It comes from a spire.
Right. Oh.
It is where my people come from.
The Emerald Spire?
He looks at it. I can't ascertain just from looking at it or...
Well, if it's sentimental to you, maybe that would help with
Not sentimental, just unusual here.
Okay, fine. This is something I've traveled with for quite a while. I would like to know more about it when I get back. If that's possibly...
I can see what I can learn. But, and he kind of holds out a hand.
And I'll just...
I can use this to look upon you and communicate after a fashion.
Perfect. Even underground.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Especially underground.
It is fine-tuned
I'll
for
talk to
it's
it.
for use in subways and other. But yeah, so
we'll check in along the way and just see how the communication is or whatever. Just every once in a while, ping me.
I will try. There's a limited number of times I can.
Oh, well then don't waste it. Yeah, just it'll take me 2 hours to get there. You know the length of the city.
He nods.
Okay, I gotta go. Enjoy the food, Nilly. Great to see you. Maybe another song when I get back. Might have some crazy, awesome adventure I'm about to go on right now.
Well, you know what? I'm going to work on the one, and you just kind of like are going.
We'll talk about the historical accuracies of kind scale slang later.
He runs down, and you just
as I get to the door, I'm like, oh yeah, there's also a white dragon that you can add to the mix later.
You just hear him go, wait a second, and you just gone into the darkness.
I'm making with haste,
Sure, so
realizing
you begin
that
to
it's
kind of
probably
jog.
not like a place that the vermin collars, what are they called?
Yep,
Vermin
vermin collars.
It's probably not them, and if it's not them, then it's probably dangerous something.
Sure.
So,
Cutting back to the three of you. What are you all doing?
Going into the catacombs.
Progressing
Sure.
silently.
Probably given my
With your two drunken companions
With-
who are never silent, even when sober.
probably given my
Probably
Rough
keeping a little bit
understanding.
of distance from
Okay,
them at this
that's
point.
wise.
they'll
my
draw the
rough
traps.
understanding of the catacombs, I would probably go to the nicer area of it before making my way like down to the more common tombs.
You
Or I
don't
guess they
know
wouldn't even be-
much about the catacombs.
Right.
So,
like I would know that it's like separated the way that you said.
yes. And so, yeah,
But, like,
that's your intention.
Try to
I'm-
intuit.
I'm trying to figure out like, okay, which ones are the nicest? I'm gonna go there first and see, because that's probably where
Sure.
whatever is causing this would start from.
Past the 65 feet of gravestones, and as they kind of like roll down and almost disappear into like this dark throat, you see elements of stonework begin to emerge through the darkness. And in front of you, looming outward, is a replica of Castle Kosh, downscaled slightly. And you see these almost limestone carved soldiers that line the walls, the crenellations, guard the door. There is sort of portcullis, although the gate is raised, and it seems as if maybe built in by the stone itself. You see a glimmer of silver along the floor. There is an inscription, although at this distance you can't read it, and it is in common, above the doorway. And then through this kind of hallway, you can see there are doors within.
I'll make my way down, being wary of like, I guess, more undead jumping out or something.
Okay.
You know.
Two of you?
I'm following Shae.
Okay. Shae?
Making my way down, trying to do so as hidden as possible.
Make a stealth check. Your minimum stealth is 25, so you're fine.
So, 23?
Okay. Not bad. The two of you kind of move to the side. And Aca, as you get a little bit closer and you go in, you begin to look, you turn and there's no Morwen. Not surprising. You turn, there's no Shae. But in front of you, you see this dark doorway looming up, and looking up, you see the inscription reads, Fortress of Sacrifice by Novoso Licor. A somber reminder of the price of freedom. The bones laid beyond have earned their rest. You see on the left and the right, maybe 30 feet like this hallway, and then a door on either side.
Which door looks like the nicer? From there, I probably couldn't.
You need to get closer, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I would start going to the left.
Okay.
To the left. It's like both ways, split like that.
So there's the portcullis.
Yeah.
There's a 30-foot by 20-foot long room.
Yeah.
And then at the end, on the left, on the west wall and the east wall,
Okay.
there's a door on either side.
Okay. Yeah, I would take the west wall.
Sure. What are the two of you doing? You see Aca like walk ahead of you and into
I would
this
like
space.
cautiously, because like catacombs, there are a lot of undead, so I'd be like
Make a perception
kind of
check.
wary
Sure.
of like anything that's gonna fuck my day.
I mean, I'm gonna check loose every once in a while, not leave it unsheathed as to like be a
Light.
yeah.
Sure.
But I'm gonna keep an eye on it, and other than that, I'm just following Shae because I'm mad at Aca.
You pause at the door and you pull out loose. Dark. Sheath it and continue on in. What was your perception check?
It was a 16, but I have a passive of 17.
Okay. You walk in and looking at this door, it is quite fancy. It's metal, not worn or rusted especially, which within this space, though not damp, there is a rawness to it that indicates there is moisture. So maintained. This door, as you kind of look, there is a knob and there's a lock on this door.
Okay. No like inscriptions or anything.
No inscriptions, but there is symbology. You can see, and you know enough about Dungannon to see this. This is the old flag of Dungannon.
Okay. So probably the older
Certainly, yeah.
part of the catacombs. More recent, probably buried. I guess it's like, what, 30 feet away? I'm going to go check the other door before I make a decision.
Okay. You go over, and the other door from straight on isn't a door, it is a door frame, and you can see into the hallway beyond.
Like a door frame with a visible door somewhere knocked off on the ground
No,
somewhere?
it seems as if it was just built as a frame.
Okay.
Like an archway, really.
Okay. So it's not like that's busted down and that's where the zombies were coming from.
Correct, although as you look down this hallway, you can see there are areas here where stones have kind of been pulled away, and here and there, like scratch marks along the wall.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the other door, knowing that that's probably where the zombies are. Be like, let me try this one first. Maybe
Okay.
there's something that will inform the other way. And
Wait.
I'm going to go over to it. I'm going to investigate the lock and see if is it locked or is it unlocked?
Okay, make an investigation check.
Do you? Well, I can maybe look it up. I forget the range on loose.
I believe it's 50 feet or 60 feet.
Okay, I'll double check real quick. But
I'm like almost positive it's 50.
60.
60, okay.
Oh wait, no, that's for a different thing. Can detect within 50 feet.
Okay.
Okay. So whatever. I'm gonna check loose, and I'm just gonna whisper over to Shae and just be like,
No one dead around. Just so you know, if you want to pass it on, I'm not talking to him right now.
Not gonna pass it on. Looking for
Fantastic.
signs of life, I guess.
Okay.
Things that have passed through recently.
Make a survival check.
I was gonna say,
They
odd
might
place
be.
to do that.
Yeah, I know. There are people who have died here. Well, they were brought here dead.
21.
21. You look about the space, you see Aca kind of examining a door, but you look down at the ground and certainly there are signs of passage. Although unusual, you see signs of maybe like dragging. There's no like blood, but there are like crumbling bits of like this brownish matter that as you get closer, like decaying flesh. Certainly things have come out.
But nothing like
Nothing's come in.
creatures, nothing.
You don't find any like talon marks. You don't find any nothing especially out of place in that it is, nothing alien or foreign to this place.
Okay. But predominantly what I would assume to be dead things.
Yes.
Okay.
Zombies.
Zombies.
Zams.
I don't think there's anything else down here other than the dead. At least at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Shae, what's your passive?
20.
Off in the darkness, from the door on the right, the door that would be on the eastern wall, barely, you hear from beyond this little, and then skitter.
Going that way.
Okay. Heinrich.
Huh?
Aca, behind you, you don't hear footsteps, but you see movement, and as you're like looking, and the door is locked, you
Okay.
turn, and Shae just kind of steps into the doorway. Looking beyond, Shae, you don't see any movement, but you see this hall. The uneven kind of floor has been scraped away in places. You see scratches on the wall. At the end of this, you can see it begins to kind of hook down, and you see the first few stairs of a staircase that lead deeper underground.
Going that way.
Okay.
I'm
Shae's
gonna-
walking away.
I'm following.
More ways.
Suddenly, you see in the doorway behind Shae, Morwen step out of the darkness.
I hear nothing.
He's walking away.
I'm gonna go and try to pick the lock myself.
Okay.
Like, I was gonna try to like make it up to her, be like, oh.
Oh yeah, let me just do
I
the
need you
work.
to pick
Yeah,
the
you're right. Yeah.
try to pick this lock, see what's in here, and then catch up to them.
Hell hath no fury, etc., etc.
As a
Sleight of
Morwen
hand.
hungover.
That's a 13.
13. So
You trigger every trap in a
get
10-mile radius.
There is. So as far as you can tell, there's no traps. with your investigation check.
I hope not. It's
You
like
get in, you take out the thieves' tools elements that you have, and you begin to kind of work at this lock. There is something about this lock. It is relatively modern, considering the space that it's within, and it's harder than you expect it to be. And you find no real success in even getting it to
It's not in the
move.
game. Well,
Every now and then you have to like turn and look over your shoulder for sure.
all right. I'll come back to it. Catch up with them.
Okay, you turn, you begin to kind of jog, although they're quick.
I'm
And,
not jogging. I'm like
Okay.
sulking.
okay. You begin to walk down what is now an empty corridor, hoping to catch up. Heinrich.
still jogging through town.
I'm thinking at this point you're probably still about 45 minutes
Yeah,
away.
yeah, absolutely.
Just as a heads up, but I'll
Yeah, yeah.
keep
Stop
updating
for a
you on
point.
that thing.
No, I'm good. I ate a bunch of food. We're good.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
not gonna. Got my head in the game here.
For
I just
what
took on waves of zombies while you guys were drinking and eating
Zines.
spiders.
I will say though, as you are walking, you do get to this area that is, you can see kind of like a sign. It is maybe like a neighborhood. It says Mesa Shores on top of it. There's like a little fence, although nothing that would. It's really a stylistic wall, not a fence. About 3 feet high, stone. You can see there are 3 shops beyond before like a little underground, what looks like, and you can tell from the circular nature of it, an artificial pond. The closest shop to you is you see like in the window, although there is like shades drawn for the most part, there are some hats and these little like figure forms behind. And there's a sign that reads, "Hats all, folks."
Yeah.
Next door to that, there is a well, you can see the sign, and it says, "Don't shirt yourself." And although there's nothing outside, probably a tailor.
Love it.
Don't shirt yourself. Let us shirt you.
In parentheses underneath that, there is another little slogan that says, "Let us do it for you."
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
And then at the very far end, you can see, although closed, there is a shoe shop that is called The Sole Purpose.
Yes.
And so just
It's
marking
me
that,
again from another life.
marking that in your brain.
Yeah,
is
I feel
maybe-
like as I'm jogging, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, my shoes. I'm just gonna mental note. What was the name of the area?
that is Mesa Shores, is that little side street.
Okay. He's doing so well for himself.
And they're little. It's
He's
like a little,
shores.
Well, so like it's 3 shops with like housing above, and so it is designed for like kind of budding entrepreneurs.
It's like the
Yeah.
intro to Bob's Burgers.
Exactly.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
what that's inspired
it's
by.
like what I'm thinking of.
when I was
Well, because as
designing
soon as
this-
like my fucking pun thing started out too, they're all puns.
Well,
Yeah.
so yeah, you started it, and then I was watching Bob's Burgers, like the Halloween episodes on the road with my girlfriend the other day,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, sole purpose. I'm
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Perfect. Love it. And it's all in the wonderful area plaza called Mesa Shores.
Miso Shores.
Jeez, do not. Someone would know. Don't Shirt Yourself is run by the tailor Kenakai Werston, and then Hats All Folks is run by Thinbley Rinkatidley, which is a that is a gnome.
Sounds like something that Jack Black would say.
Thinbley Rinkatidley. So, that.
Okay,
that
noted.
information
Noted. All right. I'm still jogging.
Sure, good job.
Just gonna keep jogging.
Buy my shoes.
I gotta get some shoes later.
Morwen,
Yes.
Shae. The 2 of you continue down, and you enter.
I think at the top of the stairs,
Sure.
Heinrich's seen me leave marks enough. I would trace something and
Okay. You leave a little.
I couldn't read it, but I know you're passing if I
Catch
find
up
it.
to them
If
when
I can
they're-
find it.
So, interesting note. Are you leaving kind of like the code signals, or are you leaving a mark in Zinye?
Oh yeah, is it,
it would have
writing
been
or not?
it would have been something he would have seen me leave before.
So code.
So code.
Yeah, so it wouldn't translate to
Right,
you
right.
necessarily, but it
Yeah.
in theory, you can read Zinye.
Yeah. But if it's not Zinye, no, it doesn't.
Correct. But as you walk, you do see, or you will eventually see a sigil like that, and I would imagine probably know that it's Shae. But you leave that. Are you guys continuing down?
Yes.
Am I like right behind them at this point?
No, they're a lot quicker than you, and you took some time to work on this lock, so you're probably a good 5 minutes behind.
Minutes.
The 2 of you walk down the
Place is
staircase.
Yeah.
Doing
stairs.
so quietly.
Okay. Yeah, with the stealth checks you had before, for sure you are. And that's impressive in and of itself. There are scattered little bits of like rubble, and you can see freshly kind of like scraped as if with your previous survival check, a number of creatures all together try to rush through this narrow space, and elements of bone or armor or other things kind of dragging along the walls in that rush. And even as you walk, if you were to touch the walls, you can see it like crumbles very freshly. This probably happened just recently. At the bottom of the staircase, you find heaps of broken bones. But as you look around, you realize there's an organization to this. Your eyes adjusting to the even darker space down here. You can see neatly stacked, there are rows and rows and rows of tibia bones. And then on top of those rows, you can see skulls in orderly rows, and then tibias on top of that. And then you can see behind that, like kind of shuffled in, just other elements of broken bone, and like all the little jagged bits that don't really fit, piled neatly behind these like organized rows. And they kind of form like a little, a curve along one wall, and then straight to maybe like a hallway beyond. You can't really see beyond the bones. You do see up on top, on the ceiling, hanging down from 2 chains, a sign that in common and undercommon reads the Eternal Ossuary. Here and there, some of the skulls you can see human. You see a few that have the fossa inferni, that is the holes that the tiefling horns would come through, so some tieflings. You can see some smaller skulls here and there, perhaps dwarf, halfling. A variety of skulls. Are you guys entering the room, or what are you doing?
I'm doing whatever Shae's doing.
Fair enough.
And when I hear Aca coming, I'm just gonna be.
Ew, he's near.
You're not doing the deal.
I'm doing my best to follow the
What deal?
the
You're
screeching.
supposed
the-
to ingratiate me to them.
Oh, was I? Oh, I feel so bad now. Well, you insulted me, so I don't feel that bad right now.
Anyways,
I was protecting your identity.
Shae, you walk with Morwen behind you, saying, he's coming. Towards the end of this room.
You have to ingratiate me. I'm like, go faster.
As you walk, you approach a table, although as you get closer and kind of come over top of it, it's stylistically almost like a sunburst shape. It's like, it's made of iron. It's about 2 feet wide, and there's an octagonal panel of opaque yellow glass in the center. You can see there are 8 triangles of glass, a little paler in yellow and now a little translucent, that spike off like rays of the sun. 4 a little bit longer, maybe 8 inches long, and then 4 a little shorter, 6 inches long, alternating. You can see the far right glass little triangle, very badly cracked. The far left one is shattered, the little bits kind of on the ground below. There's an element to this that you would imagine is maybe a puzzle, but as you look to the left, the door that maybe it corresponds to is open. And you can see beyond.
Moving toward the door.
Okay. You leave the table and see there is this, like a hallway almost. Very short, that leads to a very, very short, maybe like 4 or 5 steps. And then beyond that, a huge space. You see more of these kind of rows of bones, but way more ornate. Getting a little closer to the door, you see maybe 30 feet beyond a chandelier that is like spinal columns that go to like these elements of ribs that curve out to have hands that would hold candles, although none of the candles are lit. You can see whole rows where between these, and there are pillars here that support the ceiling, about 10 feet high, but bones have been piled up to form ornate sculptures along these things. In some places, they form huge walls between the pillars, which make strange corridors, and then large empty spaces, and then oddly curving walls with hands reaching out of it. There are bones everywhere that you look. They are creating the walls, the ceilings, in places the floors. And here and there, they are arranged into sculptures that appear humanoid in nature, and then sometimes just entirely stylistic. But it is called the ossuary for a reason. What would you like to do?
Again, still trying to follow this, I assume, rodent-type creature?
Make a perception check.
21.
20 which?
21.
21. You look around, you don't see any signs. You listen, and in this dark space, here and there, you hear little crumbles and bits of like things shifting in the darkness, but you don't hear a squeak. You don't hear feet. Aca, at this point, you do kind of, you catch up. You see Morwen and Shae within this larger kind of darkened space now, pillars on either side and bones.
There was a door you could have unlocked.
You have thieves' tools.
Yeah, but I'm not as good as you are at
That may be
picking
true.
locks.
Perhaps.
Because you are the best finger gang. Did I told you that, right, Shae? Morwen is the best of the finger gang.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Why do you want to open that door? There's no dead things behind it. Or there's no living dead things behind it.
maybe there's something good behind it. Don't you like nice things?
Yeah.
So I figured we would do a thorough investigation while we're here.
Well, Shae,
Maybe
what are we
there's
doing
something-
now?
Yeah, did
Because
you
I've just
find
been
anything?
following you. I have no idea what we're doing.
There's some small creature in here, probably related to them.
What, like a rat or something?
Probably.
I'm looking around.
Make a
Any
perception
rats?
check, yeah.
Any rats around? Probably not. That's a 16.
Not as far as you can tell. You
Or-
cast your gaze about and you see all manner
It's
of
less than a
bone
16.
sculptures
It's like a
and
12. No, 13.
13.
Yeah.
You see a few bone sculptures.
I missed one.
Yeah. There's a replica of you in bone, and you just kind of glance right over it. Don't see it. But yeah, not a lot. You don't see any rats. Nothing rodent-like.
So you think it's a member of the druids or
Could
just
be.
a rat? I mean, we are deep underground in a relatively moist climate area, right?
Gross.
It's like a...
If you would
Thank you, Tom.
like to persuade Morwen to go back and open that door, you are certainly welcome to do so. But
Well, I mean, I think we should do a thorough investigation. Is there anything else that we should investigate down here?
Morwen, would you like to assist Aca in opening this door?
Not alone.
What? I didn't mean... I was trying to protect your identity.
Looking at these
You were just...
paths
you
through
didn't
the
even want
bones,
to go up to them.
does it look like there's a pattern through them, or is it just kind of randomly stacked?
Shae helps.
Make an
See stuff?
insight check.
I don't want to split up the group
27.
in this gross,
27?
moist place.
With an insight check of 27, at first, there is a randomness to this. You look and... 27. Okay. You
There's
look...
Not a random.
And there is this complex nature where you can see over time, parts have probably fallen and been rebuilt. There are areas where bones, like different shades, and have definitely been swapped out. This is a place that's kept in repair. And so, to that end, you would imagine there is a reason. And yes, this is an ossuary. This is a place where heroes are kind of kept, but there's something about it that really bothers you because the shape is weird. You can see now, as you kind of walk about the space, all the way on the other end, maybe like 100 feet away, when you like walk 40 feet in, you can see the edge with your dark vision, another staircase that leads out of this kind of large chamber. But that's not how all the rows kind of focus. You begin to line them up, and in your mind, you create a bird's eye view. For you, quite easy, and you turn, and all of these rows kind of end up forming spokes to a central point that is on the wall up against where you came in. A little bit further to the right, and you kind of like trace over, and you can see there is an area where the bone wall has elements of light that do, and you would have missed it had you not been looking for it, but just underneath the bottom, very, very dull elements of light that would indicate that there is something beyond.
Is it like a crack in the wall, or is it like...
You getting a little closer?
Yeah.
As you get closer, though the rest of the bone walls seem to be formed solid and up against actual stone, typically, there is something else beyond here. And getting even closer and peering into some of these cracks, you can see there is like a larger, like a 10-foot deep space, and then a door of iron off to your right. And there is an inscription over this door. Well, what languages do you speak, remind me?
Common, Orin, and Zinni.
Do we?
Well, technically I speak all of them, or can be understood
Are
and
you-
understand.
But you can't
the
read.
reading,
right?
I can't.
Okay.
Are you showing us this too?
I mean, once I take it all, then yes.
Okay.
Okay. In a language that you do not understand or that you don't speak or read, I suppose, there is an inscription. You do see a name up at the top. Kulhua Lazaro. And then you see maybe another name towards the bottom, Tanakh. But outside of that, can't understand the rest.
I would motion, assuming Morwen would follow me at least.
Okay.
And assuming that if Morwen's following me, Aca will too. But
I'm trying to be a team player.
and kind of point it out. And do either of you read that?
What language is
I can
it?
tell you more when you don't.
Yeah,
What
no.
languages do you speak?
Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, Elvish, and Infernal.
Not a language that you speak, but again, you do see the word Tanakh, and you see the name. Just a second here.
Is that
Kulhua
giantish?
Lazaro. It is not.
I know what Tanakh is from. I think from the history of it, right? Was Tanakh either the king who was the vampire, or like one of the nobles who slayed or helped slay?
Make a history check. It is the king was King Salmathorn. You definitely know that.
That's a 19.
In your work with the Dungannon Antiquities Collective, Tanakh has come up because there is evidence to support that there is something called a mythal there. Tanakh is located on the northwesternmost tip of what used to be called the Ald. And as far as the Antiquities Collective knows, it's one of the very few parts that is still above water. It's an ancient place. It's a place with a very proud people, a long history of war, of combat, and of ritualistic sacrifice. That's probably all you know about it.
Can I identify what language this is in?
Make an intelligence check, possibly.
18?
And remind me again what languages you speak.
Infernal, Elvish, Dwarvish, Draconic, and Common.
Draconic is maybe the closest, but there's very, very few similarities there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about Tanakh, and that's most of what I got. Do you know anything, Morwen?
Maybe. Not a single thing.
Well,
Do I?
good
I
try.
can hardly read this, so I doubt I know what it is. Well, that doesn't mean I don't know what it is, but
I'm trying to think, because make a roll 100-sided dice.
oh boy. Oops. 6.
Never heard of it.
Cool. Love that. Right? That's, well, it's not 600, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you've never heard of it. No real idea.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Well,
You've
if you
heard that
think
word,
of
though.
something,
I'll let you know.
Yeah, cool. Let's, shall we continue this way, or do you want to check out that door I found?
Is there a door with this inscription or no?
Yeah. So underneath the inscription, there is a door. There's still like a wall of bone in front of you between that, but there is that door. Yeah. Close to the height of the entire room, so about 9 feet tall. This
The
door.
wall. Oh, the door.
Yeah.
Not the wall of bone.
It's closed, I assume.
Yes.
Checking for undead.
You pull out this loose. It glows with this dull purple.
Yo. There's undead around.
Get into my ready
Behind, like bones roll off the
ready
wall.
stance.
Okay, you do that.
Should we continue this way or stand our ground here?
I'm gonna start shifting some of the bones, or trying to make a path.
Make a sleight of hand check.
22.
Okay. Moving some of the bones, and really it is, again, more of a speed thing where you can like pull one away, and as they begin to fall in, you just stick it right back. But you're able to kind of create enough of a space where you and Morwen quite easily could get through. Aca, it will be difficult for you to squeeze into this space, but you can certainly try.
Okay.
Make an acrobatics check if you would like to.
Well, did you both squeeze through? You
Yeah.
squeezed through?
So,
It's
into
a
the
much
space.
more defensible position.
Yes, absolutely. You're in basically like a 5 by 10 little dead end with a door in front of you.
Burst
What was that
through.
roll?
Oh, that was kind of on the side, but that was, was it,
Acrobatics.
acrobatics? 5.
Really?
I rolled a natural 1.
DM.
Oh, okay. Shae, you watch as Aka's hand sticks through this hole. The hand kind of goes down on the ground, and you hear this as like the metal kind of like pulls, and Aka, you can't quite get in there.
Like
So
before it even I'm like
I was
pushing him
gonna-
back out.
yeah,
Oh, I'm gonna start helping with the bones because I'm just like, okay, you know what? Yeah, he was an ass, but like he doesn't deserve to be completely humiliated, looking this stupid. So I'm going to be generous and really kind as I am typically, and I'm gonna help rearrange some more bones for him.
okay. So you begin to move the
That's
bones
my thought
out of the
process.
way.
Is I'm just a really
Get my
good
shoulder
person.
through first, and then
As you do, so
Maybe if I
Shae
s-
pushes
should I go-
Aka.
maybe I'll go leg
Aka like
first.
tries to go leg first as Shae pushes him, and as you pull one of the bones aside. And the cumulative effort is that Shae, you push Aka a little harder than Aka is able to like withstand properly, already taking a step forward. And Aka, you fall backwards through the bones more when you grab one, and the whole wall, and you're just holding this femur. Yeah, you drop it on the ground. Clatter, clatter, clatter. It echoes in this cavernous space. But the echoes die down. And you are now all within this. It's no longer a dead end, now part of the room.
I immediately crawl up the wall and hide in the corner of the wall and ceiling and wait to see what happens.
So Morwen puts one paw on the stone and like leaps up and grabs onto elements of bone that jut out of the wall. And you kind of hold off what is a rib far too large to be humanoid, maybe an animal of some kind, but you just kind of perch up there.
Yeah.
Hair kind of
Yeah.
fluffed out.
just ready to. If anything comes out, I'm ready.
Shae, you being the rational person in this group are now standing relatively alone in this 10 by 5 space.
It's still
Relatively alone, but we're both within like
closed off
15
roughly.
feet.
Like there's
It's
Sanely
it's like a little
alone.
divot and then like a crumbled wall in
Spiritually.
front of it, but it
Totally
is certainly more defensible here.
Mentally,
I want
intellectually.
to put myself
The only thing is
against
physically-
the opening, but kind of
physically
out of
with people,
sight,
but, like,
so I can still
entirely
reach
Okay,
around it,
sure, absolutely.
but not be like
You kind
dead in
of
front.
get into a corner where on your right there is like this pile of bone, but the opening like directly beyond that, and you put your left your left arm up against the corner wall. You feel pretty hidden. Aca and Morwen, what are you doing? This doorway is now kind of in front of you, the inscription just above.
Wait, Shae, what did you do?
You see Shae
You
kind
were
of
hiding
tucked
in
into
the
the
corner.
corner, just like seeming to defend the gap that you guys walked through.
I guess
So if anything
I'll-
follows,
I'll check this door and see if this is locked as
make
well.
an investigation check.
Dirty 20? Or no, 19.
You
No,
look,
16. The 9. So
Five.
the 6
Natural
lost
one.
its color. So
Oh,
Fair.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, you look in, and as you look for a keyhole, there is no keyhole. There's no door handle. There's no latch. You begin to look around. It's a very, very tight seam. Hard to tell how you would open this door from here.
Can I try to like telekinetic shove it this way and then like sideways to push it aside?
I love that idea. You could certainly try. I'm going to say, without really any kind of roll, there's nothing to save against it because it's not a creature.
Oh well, I'm doing not the like attack push one. But
The mage hand?
Just like the mage hand to
What is the weight limit on that?
push it.
I think it's only like 10 pounds.
I believe regular mage hand is 10 pounds.
I think. Let me just check.
Might even be 5 pounds, actually, the regular mage hand, if I remember
I
correctly.
think it's 10, but I could be wrong.
I think it's 10 too, just from past conversations about it.
So
Well, his is different, I think, though.
Yeah,
Regular,
we're thinking about
regular
regular
mage
one.
hand is 10 pounds.
So it's that I can move an object or a creature with my mind. I can target one loose object that is large or smaller, or one willing creature.
It is not a loose object.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, yeah, I guess it would just be normal mage hand.
Okay. Nothing seems to happen.
Okay.
I mean, I think that we should just get Heinrich to read all these inscriptions, because that seems passwordy.
Yeah, it's almost like we should follow through with
Get
when
together.
we say that we're going to meet up. And maybe take turn. Not you.
Oh,
I
okay.
was saying
Yeah,
maybe
you looked at me.
Take turns making the 2-hour trip there and back for
I
no
agree.
reason.
I agree.
Heinrich,
So,
about this point,
uh-huh.
you see the Bullfrog's Last Croak
Oh.
looming up before you on the right, and this
wonderful.
very well-defended catacombs to your left. There's about 30 people there now.
Okay, 30 people.
You see mostly Dungannon Navy. There's a few riders of Galvany. You see a red trench-coated individual who wears this kind of wide pilgrim-like hat.
Uh-huh.
But an older gentleman with this like roughly gold sleeve approaches you pretty quickly, having seen you, and he says, "Sir,
Hi, yeah.
are you the Antiquities Collective associate we've been expecting?
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a monk with you."
Right. No, just me at the moment. But yeah, why? Did you ask?
Your uncultured elf friend went ahead and said that there was others
yes.
that should be joining.
Yes. Right. Okay, great. So he already went inside then.
Yes, he said there was an artifact of some kind that might be causing what just happened. So-
Right. That he did mention that. Yes. Okay. And I'm just gonna scan around, look for like anyone who was there at the time of the attack.
Without any trouble, you do see one of the guards that was
Yeah.
there. The one that was kind of first looking over at this console.
Yeah. Just be like, Nilly's all safe, by the way, just so you know.
You can see
If it matters to you at all, just letting you know.
they'll kind of try and a few of them shrug, and one of them's like, "Oh, all right."
It's cool. Yeah,
Is
we're
Gorgus
good.
still
We're
there?
great.
It's who?
Gorgus.
Across the street, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was kind of looking for.
Oh, so Gorgus is across the street. Kind of, he looks a little bit. He looks kind of sad. He's just sitting there on his
Yeah.
bench, shoulders slumped.
Be like, hey, bud, listen. Nilly's all good. I got him to
Oh,
a
you're
safe
talking to him.
place. Yeah, I just like, I'm like, great, yeah. To like the guard, I'm like, hold on 1 second, and I just run
Okay,
over.
yeah.
I'm like, all right, Nilly's all set up. He's safe. Put him up with some friends. No need to worry. How you holding up?
Oh, I'm not doing great. I think I'm gonna lose my job.
Why do you think you're gonna lose your job? I saw you kicking ass and knocking down all those undead.
Taking names.
Yeah, but I only really got this job because of Bunghole Steve, and they didn't really want to give it to me in the first place, so I don't know. Are you hiring? And he kind of stands up like towering over you.
Hiring.
Say yes. No, don't.
You know?
Don't. He's loud.
I'm gonna look around. I'll see if I can find any leads for someone of your stature and skills and abilities, because I saw what you can do and it's pretty good.
I'm a sailor also, and I have a long term at sea, and I can cook a little bit.
Crap.
Meatball.
You know what? Do you know the Verdant Ogre?
Yeah, I've heard of that place.
All right, give me about. You know what? Meet me there, like, or just hang out in that area, like tomorrow, next few days. We might be by myself and some friends. We might have some work for you.
Make a persuasion check.
Just go hang out at this bar.
Well, if you're gonna lose your job, if you don't hang on to
as hard as you can.
If you don't hang on to this job and have nothing else to do, don't leave town. Hang out around that area, and I'll come find you with a job.
Make a persuasion check.
That's what I'm
Stay
saying.
in this exact
Correct.
area until-
Stand here, right click, left click, here. Question marker. Stay put.
The forgotten
Hold.
sin.
Hold action. Persuasion is 13. Not great, but
Well, I guess I don't really have anywhere else to wait. What's your name?
it's Heinrich, and I'm just gonna hold my hand up.
He picks up his hand, and you can see it's pretty sweaty, but he wipes it off on his shirt and just holds it out. I'm Gorgas.
Gorgas, pleasure to meet you.
You too. And he pumps your arm up and down.
I'm like, excellent work tonight earlier on.
Thanks. I didn't really do a good job, but I'll do better next time. I promise.
That's the spirit.
And he sits down again on this bench.
Okay, so I'm
Make
gonna
his day
assume
better.
Heinrich is just thinking he's gonna join the fucking Mud Brothers, which is a bold fucking assumption.
It's just us when we travel. He's
Sure.
good body.
We'll see how that goes.
He's a good body.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'll be like, all right, have a pleasant evening, and I'm gonna run off into
Okay.
the catacombs.
So you run off. You can see both of them stop. The guards kind of look, and you can see the youngest of them, all black.
What?
Gorgas.
Gorgas.
Gorgas the Orgus. So this
corgis,
youngest guard, maybe a cadet from the Dungannon Navy, is going to kind of stop you real quick and go, sir, just so you know, there's wraiths in there.
I'll be on my guard, and I'll just flare up some celestial magic.
You can see he just looks around and draws back at first and then just goes, whoa.
Yeah. And I give him a wink, and I run on it.
You can see he just follows and watches you. You just run by him. He watches you. You hear some commotion behind you, but as you run, you kind of lose the words. But you make your way into the darkness and past these rows.
It's not
of
dark while I'm running
gravestones.
through it.
Fair enough. Well, so you can see fine.
Yeah, that's true.
But as you run through, if there is a celestial glow, there are shadows stark that are cast out. But you approach.
Keeping an eye out for any trace of them, basically.
Sure, yeah. You approach kind of the entryway of this fortress. But because it is 12:07 and a good place to stop, this is where we're going to end for the evening. So thank you guys for hanging out with us for this session of Adventures in Alberon. Miles, would you like to take it away for us?
Oh my goodness. I have no idea what to do. Thanks, Talon. You really put me on the spot here. So
Now you know how it
first and
feels.
foremost, what's the deal with all the zombies? But actually, when are we gonna figure out how to get rid of them? And will Aca ever be able to save face from a gross misstep of blatant racism? Will Morwen ever forgive him? Will she actually remember any of the deals she ever strikes?
Probably not.
Will Shae? No, I mean we all know Shae's got mounds of patience, so that won't change
She's
there.
solid ground.
She's the solid ground. And will Gorgas become the offhanded most beloved NPC or PC from a one-shot where we tried to tie in all the others in instead, and now he may be joining us and become another Thistle, maybe, who knows. But until next time, thank you all for joining and watching and all of that. And that's it. And we'll see you.
Bye.